Glory to God. It's another week. We're here.
Yeah. Yes, we're here.
Yeah, we're here. And you're here. And we're glad you're here.
Yeah. Nice to
If
have
you weren't
everybody.
here, we would still probably do this even if you weren't here, but we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
We hope that you enjoy being here.
Yeah.
You were talking about contradictions before the show and last week. And I heard something that was completely related to it, and now I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. So if you can talk, can you flesh that out again a little bit?
We're
going to talk about Lives of the Saints, ladies and gentlemen.
We will.
But I wanted to tie in to what we were talking about last week, and I didn't write it down, unfortunately.
I don't remember what we were talking about last week. Remember what we were talking about
just now? Yeah, the contradictions. Yeah. Well, it was. I don't know. I can't get to it in my mind, so we'll have to. I'll have
maybe
to.
It'll pop in. It'll pop in. It wants to be born. I can feel it.
By your prayers. I hope it comes. Maybe I can. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can find what I was watching that reminded me of it. 1 second.
Okay. While you're looking for that, I can tell you, I was watching more of those lectures, which, I mean, I've sent them to a few people and they're dubbed over, but and the way the guy dubs them over, he dubs even all his hums and haws and everything. It's kind of cute.
Yeah.
It's actually the professor. I found
wow.
one of the lectures. It's him that does the dubbing. And when I first started watching them, I couldn't tell if he was speaking English or not because his mouth was moving with the dubbing,
Yeah.
But he did a really very good job of it. But he was talking about how much antinomy was really a part of Pavel Florensky's whole being. Like it wasn't just something that he talked about; he lived it. So he talks about his coming into the church, which was rather late in his life because his family were not Christian in any way, and he calls himself a very reluctant convert. And what's kind of interesting is one of the reasons that he gives in a letter to a friend, which this professor reads, and that's another thing I have to get my hands on is his letters. He wrote letters to his children from the gulag and everything. He says one of the reasons he went into the church was because it was abhorrent to him. Because he knew, being the man of antinomies that he is, that you have to go in, you have to enter into that, right? You have to enter into that kind of tension.
Yeah.
And in the To the Reader thing here, I can find it really quick because it's right in the first pages.
So, and before you go real quick, I'll just share the definition of antimony, the old definition. I don't care about the new definition, but just for people who haven't heard of it.
And for him, contradiction and antinomy are the same.
An elementary substance resembling a metal in its appearance and physical properties, but in its chemical relations belonging to the class of non-metallic substances. Oh, is this what we're talking about?
Antinomy. And no, antinomy.
Oh, whoops.
Antinomy.
Okay. Well, antimony actually also applies.
Yeah.
Because it has characteristics of being physical and metal and a liquid, like mercury.
It's a contradiction in
exactly.
a sense. Yeah.
Opposition of one law or rule to another law or rule. This happened to me constantly when I was a missionary. Oh my goodness. An opposing law or rule of any kind. So a contradiction or incompatibility of thought or language in the Kantian philosophy, such as a contradiction as arises from the attempt to apply to the ideas of the reason, relations or attributes which are appropriate only to the facts or the concepts of experience.
Right.
So,
yeah. So like he says here in this into the reader, this just illustrates to me the place that I think he and we often find ourselves in a religious setting, right?
yeah. And we're talking about Pavel Florensky, by the way, if you joined us.
Right.
And the book is The Pillar and Ground of Truth.
Right. I'm
So.
sorry, people. I'm going to bore you with this book for a long time to come, but I do not delude myself. I firmly know that I have done no more than light a penny candle of yellow wax. He's at church, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the skeptic, the materialist in him.
Right.
But then he says, but even this little flame trembling in my unaccustomed hands has brought forth a myriad of sparkling reflections in the treasure house of the Holy Church. So, it's always really striking to me how honest he is about, he's not trying to resolve something. So he doesn't take a side. He doesn't decide, well, this is stupid, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
He goes in further. He goes further into it, right? And that was one of the things that this professor said. He said, the interesting thing with Florensky was that he never rejected anything. He would exhaust it. And that's what brought him into the kind of person he ended up becoming, because he was a polymath. And so he started with mathematics and he exhausted them. Then he went to physics and he exhausted that. Then he went to theology and he exhausted it. And then he went into philology. He just kept going.
Yeah.
And what, if you think about it, then nobody said this or anything, but I was thinking about this is that we have all these disciplines that don't talk to each other.
Right.
But they actually lead to each other. Right?
Yeah. As a generalist, it's been a difficult journey in my career, especially because I am not a specialist. I'm definitely a generalist. And so that idea of disciplines that don't talk to each other and specialists, I'm grateful for specialists, but at the same time, there's no way I could ever be one, right? Because it's like, I like finding the connections between disparate things. And,
me too. Me too.
So thank you, Afriel, for helping us with our project. We're glad you're here. Oh yeah. Sherry is all over Florensky recently. Yes. Well, and I just got my copy that showed up this week, and I got another Florensky book called The Meaning of Idealism, I think. And it's basically like him running through the history of philosophy from Socrates all the way down. It's like his summary of the history of philosophy.
Right. So. Yeah. And then I'm almost finished Reverse Perspective. So,
yeah.
It's unfortunately on a PDF, so I can't underline things.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to print it out.
Yeah.
And I realize, I'm actually at the point now where I need to keep just a journal of thoughts while I'm reading his stuff. Because, and here's another thing. This is what the professor was talking about in the last lecture I listened to. He said Florensky always wanted to spend his last days in a monastery. And the last gulag that he got sent to was in the furthest reaches of Siberia. And it was an ancient monastery that they had taken over and turned into a prison. And that's where he spent his last days.
Wow.
And I thought, how's that for an antinomy?
Yeah. Yeah. You got the answer to your prayer, but not quite in the way you were expecting.
A monastery that became a prison.
Yeah.
For an atheist regime.
Well, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. For the atheist regime is one thing, but I also, I don't think it's I don't think it's a coincidence that monks, the room where a monk lives is called a cell.
of course, I understand. Yeah, I get that, but it's the spirit of the thing. Well,
Right.
I mean, Florensky inhabited it, so the spirit was there, right?
Right.
But it, but to those looking on, it was no longer what it appeared to be, which is what antinomy does to you. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you look at the thing and you think that can't be.
Yep. Well, and we're back to Saint Robin Braga too, right?
Yeah,
Same situation.
yeah. You
The
just think
communist
that,
prison was his heaven.
yeah, exactly. It's just everywhere. It's laced everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
had
don't want to.
another, that reminded me, it was another This Can't Be story, but I don't
Okay.
remember what the story was and where I heard it. So I'm going to sit with it.
Well, it's going to
coming
come.
though. It's coming.
It's coming. It's crowning. It's crowning.
Oh, no. We don't need to go down that road.
My niece just had a baby, so that's all in my head.
Yeah, well, my stepdaughter did as well. So that's I
My
don't want that to be in my head.
My 30-year-old niece just had her 5th baby.
Ooh, that's a handful.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, I said to her, "You would make a really good Orthodox Christian." She laughed. She's actually partially responsible for my baptism because she's the one that found the priest in Kamloops.
Wow.
And came with me to my first liturgy there. But her husband was not interested. It doesn't compute for him at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes from a completely different culture.
Mm.
And it just didn't feel right to her to put him in that position, you know?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Yeah. I guess are we ready to dig into the lives of the saints? I got a few of them this week because most of them are pretty short.
Yeah, let's go.
Nice.
I don't think we've done any of these. sometimes we're getting into the repetitions already here. So.
Yeah, we are. We're looping around, which is the spiritual life, right? The circle. So today's Ash Wednesday for our Roman Catholic friends. And for Orthodox, Great Lent starts Monday. This Sunday is Forgiveness Sunday, and Monday is Clean Monday. It's Clean Week is what it's called. So traditionally, you would clean your house.
Oh, really?
On the first 3 days, yeah. So looking forward to a Great Lent this year. It'll be really.
That's kind of like what
really
Jordan
beautiful.
Peterson told everyone to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was the first thing he told them to do.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the road to repentance, isn't it? Obviously.
Yes. Yeah. Start.
Isn't that interesting?
The world around you, like start with your room and the
clean
people
your room
around you, right? Clean your room. Get along with forgive your family.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to reconcile with your
family. Really, I just love those intuitions.
Yeah.
Coinciding.
Yeah. So the first life I'm going to share is his feast day is actually today, and it is Saint Leo the Great, Pope of Rome. And so I thought this was great because this is also happens to be Ash Wednesday. So I thought this would be a nice little tie-in. Ash Wednesday didn't start until about the 11th century, but regardless, this is a shared saint in both calendars. So, but you know what? Forgive me. We should start with a prayer.
Yeah.
O Lord Jesus Christ, open the eyes of my heart that I may hear your word and understand and do your will, for I am a sojourner upon the earth. Hide not your commandments from me, but open my eyes that I may perceive the wonders of your law. Speak unto me the hidden and secret things of your wisdom. On you do I set my hope, O my God, that you shall enlighten my mind and understanding with the light of your knowledge, not only to cherish those things which are written, but to do them. For you are the enlightenment of those who lie in darkness, and from you comes every good deed and every good gift. Amen.
Amen.
And with that, we will start the life of Saint Leo the Great, Pope of Rome. Saint Leo the First, St. Leo I, the Great, Pope of Rome in 440 to 461, received a fine and diverse education, which opened for him the possibility of an excellent worldly career. He yearned for the spiritual life, however, and so he chose the path of becoming an archdeacon under the Holy Pope Sixtus the third, after whose death St. Leo was chosen as Bishop of Rome in September 440. These were difficult times for the church when heretics assaulted orthodoxy with their false teachings. St. Leo combined pastoral solicitude and goodness with an unshakable firmness in the confession of the faith. He was in particular one of the basic defenders of orthodoxy against the heresies of Eutyches and Dioscorus, who taught that there was only one nature in the Lord Jesus Christ. He was also a defender against the heresy of Nestorius. He exerted all his influence to put an end to the unrest by the heretics in the church, and by his letters to the holy emperors Theodosius II and Marcian. He actively promoted the convening of the Fourth Ecumenical Council at Chalcedon in 451 to condemn the heresy of the Monophysites. At the council at Chalcedon, at which 630 bishops were present, a letter of St. Leo to the deceased St. Flavian, Patriarch of Constantinople, was read. St. Flavian had suffered for orthodoxy under the robber council of Ephesus in the year 449. In the letter, St. Leo, the Orthodox teaching about the two natures, the divine and the human, in the Lord Jesus Christ was set forth. All the bishops present at the council were in agreement with this teaching, and so the heretics Eutyches and Dioscorus were excommunicated from the church. St. Leo was also a defender of his country against the incursions of barbarians. In 452, by the persuasive power of his words, he stopped Attila the Hun from pillaging Italy. Again, in the year 455, when the leader of the Vandals, a Germanic tribe, Henseric, turned towards Rome, he persuaded him not to pillage the city, burn buildings, nor to spill blood. He knew the time of his death beforehand, and he prepared himself with 40 days of fasting and prayer to pass from this world into eternity. He died in the year 461 and was buried at Rome. His literary and theological legacy is comprised of 96 sermons and 143 letters, of which the best known is his epistle to St. Flavian. One interesting connection there was to Saint Genevieve last week or 2 weeks ago, who was praying, who also convinced the barbarians not to sack Paris. So anyway, we'll go on. Saint Theodore of Sanaxar.
Hang on a second. I was talking to you. I was talking, but I forgot.
No, you're muted. Yeah, I was just like, okay, you don't want to talk about that. That's fine.
No, I was going to say that's kind of interesting because I think it reflects well on those people because they didn't share the same faith by any stretch of the imagination, and yet they respected spiritual leaders enough to not pillage and burn. Okay, like that's a big ask. Okay,
yeah,
a big ask. So I don't know. It's just something to like. I like to put myself in the story a lot of the time, just to get a feel for what it must have been like. And to them, this woman, or Saint Leo, would have been, I don't know, for lack of a better word, shamanistic in a sense, right? For the Vandals, for I don't know what
right,
what
yeah,
the Hun was like,
yeah,
but and so they would see them approaching as these people who had contact with the other side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they still had a concept of holiness.
Yeah,
the way we think of holiness. Yeah,
they must have,
right,
in order to just have a conversation and convince someone not to burn down Rome, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of the story also of when Mehmet conquered Constantinople. He started having a dream, and every time he fell asleep, he dreamed of a hand just holding out 5 fingers like this, and it was tormenting him. Like he couldn't sleep because every time he sleep, it was just this hand, and it was really disturbing to him. And he called his spiritual elders to come and interpret the dream, and no one could really give him an interpretation that satisfied him. And he continued to be tormented by the dream. And he asked if there were any holy men left in the city from Constantinople. And they said, yeah, there's one little monastery left. There's a few monks there. They said, bring me their leader. So he brought the abbot of this little monastery that had kind of stayed hidden during the war, and brought him. And he asked, Mehmet told him the dream and asked him to interpret it. And he said, I'll need 3 days. And so he fasted and prayed for 3 days. And he came back. And he said, the Lord has told me what your dream is. Your dream, those 5 fingers represent the 5 holy Orthodox Christians who would have prevented you from sacking Constantinople if there were 5 who lived in Constantinople. But there aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mehmet was greatly relieved and felt like his taking of, it was like an answer to him that his taking of Constantinople was divinely ordained.
Yeah.
And so he made that man the Patriarch of Constantinople, and made the Patriarch of Constantinople the what's the word? It's not episcopes. Ecumenical. He made him the ecumenical patriarch, which is basically like, not the Pope, but a place of honor among the patriarchs, basically.
Right.
So, anyway, and it came from that, because he's like, I'm the new emperor of Rome, and the emperor of Rome is who calls the patriarch. It says so in your canons, right? So that's what happened. Anyway, but it's kind of related about, the prayers. There weren't enough holy people in Constantinople to prevent that sacking, so, but at the time it sounds like Paris and Rome still had some holiness rolling around to offer defense.
Yeah.
So anyway,
what are you drinking, Jeremy?
I'm drinking Scotch. Glenfiddich 14 year Glenfiddich, and it's really tasty. I don't normally drink on the show, but tonight I was like, you know what? I got a rough week. I'm just going to relax a little bit on the show. Yeah. It's very tasty. So to all of you, cheers.
I'm having a freshly brewed. It's not 14 years old.
Yeah.
Cup of coffee.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I don't think anyone wants to drink 14-year-old coffee. It's bad enough after a couple hours. So, all right, we will do Saint Theodore next. And I had not read his life. Most of these I had never read before. So this has been really rewarding for me, like really enlightening for me as well. Saint Theodore of Senexar. Saint Theodore was born near the town of Romanov in the province of Yaroslavl in 1719, the son of Prince Ignatius Ushakov and his wife Praskovy, or Irene. At his baptism, he was named John. As a young man, John Ushakov enlisted in the Guard Regiment in Petersburg and attained the rank of sergeant. Life in the capital was fraught with great spiritual danger for a young person, but God delivered John from the wrong path. When John was 20, at a drinking party with his friends, one of them suddenly collapsed and died. They all experienced fear and sadness, but this seemed to affect John more than the others. This incident is remarkably similar to the circumstances surrounding the death of Major Andrew Petrov, the husband of Blessed Saint Xenia of St. Petersburg, but it may only be coincidental. In any case, John decided to leave St. Petersburg and live in the wilderness, dedicating himself to God. While walking near the city of Yaroslavl, disguised as a laborer, he saw his uncle out with his servants. His uncle did not recognize him because of his poor clothing, but John was reminded of his former life of luxury and ease. He soon banished this thought and resolved to dwell in the wilderness. While walking in the forests near the White Sea, John came upon an abandoned cell, so he decided to remain there in solitude and pray to God. He lived there for 3 years in great hardship and affliction. Government regulations of the time enjoined citizens not to permit monks to live in the forests. When John came to the village for supplies, he was beaten within an inch of his life and was forced to flee. John eventually came to the region south of Kiev, reaching the Ploshansk monastery. He begged the igumen to accept him, that's the abbot, saying that he was the son of a priest. He could not admit to being a sergeant of the guard, since legal obstacles would have made it very difficult for him to enter monastic life. The igumen would not accept him for a long time, since he did not have the proper identification papers. Finally, he did accept John and assigned him to read in church. After hearing him read, the igumen realized that John was not from a priestly family, but probably belonged to the nobility. Fearing trouble with the authorities, he ordered John to live in the forest near the monastery where the other ascetics were living. He found an empty cell and received the blessing of these fathers to remain there. When a team of investigators came to the forest looking for monks living there illegally, John was caught. Since he had no documents and admitted to being a sergeant in the guard, he was brought to St. Petersburg and taken to the Empress Elizabeth. When he was taken to the Empress, she asked, "Why did you desert my regiment?" John explained that he had done so in order to save his soul. Elizabeth forgave him and was willing to restore him to his former rank, but John said that he did not want his former life or rank. The Empress then asked why he had snuck away in secret instead of asking to be discharged. John replied, "If I had troubled your majesty with such a request, you would not have believed that a young man such as I could have borne such a burden. I have now been tested in the spiritual life, and I ask your majesty to bless me to continue in it until my death." Elizabeth agreed to this, but stipulated that he should remain in the St. Alexander Nevsky Lavra in St. Petersburg. Soon, at her express command, John was tonsured in August of 1748 at the age of 29. Archbishop Theodosius, who then governed the monastery, ordered that he be named Theodore in honor of Saint Theodore of Yaroslavl. While Father Theodore was in the Lavra, people would visit him and ask him about how to please God while living in the world. He tried to tell them that there were older, wiser monks there who would be able to instruct them better than he could. Still, he insisted, so he tried to help them. He found, however, that he could not always answer their questions or find solutions to their problems, so he began to read patristic books, especially the works of St. John Chrysostom, asking God to enlighten him so he could understand the scriptures and the teachings of the fathers. He learned many things from his reading, and he was able to instruct people for their spiritual profit. This caused jealousy among some of the older monks, who complained to the archbishop that this young monk was attracting people to himself and disturbing the tranquility of the monastery. The hierarch ordered that no visitor requesting to see Father Theodore should be admitted. Father Theodore went to the steward of the monastery, asking him why people could not see him. He was told that because he presumed to instruct people, attracting many visitors, that the routine of the monastery was disrupted. "If there is something in my teaching which seems unlawful to his eminence," Father Theodore responded, "then he should question me. It is sinful, however, to cause unnecessary sorrow to those seeking spiritual profit." The archbishop was furious, but he ordered that people should be allowed to see Father Theodore again. The jealousy and difficulties continued for 10 years, and Father Theodore endured his trials with patience. In 1757, he wanted to transfer to Sarov monastery, and when the brethren of the Lavra found out about this, they insisted that he submit a written request for transfer. Obtaining his release, Father Theodore left St. Petersburg with many of his disciples, male and female. Along the way, they stopped at St. Nicholas Convent in Arzamas, where he settled his women disciples. Soon they moved to the vacant Alexievsky Convent. The male disciples went with him to Sarov. In 1759, after 2 years at Sarov, Father Theodore asked Igumen Ephraim to leave him or to let him have the Synaxar monastery because the number of his disciples had increased. Synaxar had been founded in 1659 but was closed by Tsar Peter I in the first half of the 18th century, and the property was administered by the Sarov Monastery. After moving to Synaxar Hermitage, Father Theodore began the work of building cells and storerooms. Bishop Pachomius of Tambov appointed Father Theodore as the superior. He also ordained the reluctant Father Theodore to the holy priesthood on December 13th, 1762. Father Theodore began setting things in order, establishing a rule for the reverent, unhurried celebration of the services. He also set down a cell rule for the monks to follow. Everyone shared in the work except those who were too old or too sick, including the superior. The number of monks at Synaxar continued to increase, but not all of them had been tonsured. It was necessary to obtain permission to have them tonsured, for the number of monks allowed to live in a monastery was regulated by law. On April 23rd, 1763, Empress Catherine II decreed that all of Father Theodore's monks should be tonsured. The following year, she issued a decree limiting the number of monasteries. Those not specifically approved would be closed. Synaxar Hermitage was among the monastic institutions scheduled to be closed, but it remained open through Father Theodore's efforts. Father Theodore was raised to the rank of igumen in October of 1764, and Synaxar was reclassified as a monastery on March 7th, 1765. Because of the number of brethren, it became necessary to build a larger stone church to replace the small wooden one. A foundation was dug, and a mulligan served at the site. Suddenly, a swarm of bees came and settled on the spot where the altar would be. This was taken as a sign of an increase in the number of brethren and an abundance of grace in the monastery. According to Subotin's 1865 book on Archimandrite Theophanes of the St. Cyril of New Lake Monastery, who was a novice at Synaxar at the same time that St. Herman was, Igumen Theodore ordered a monk named Herman to brush the bees into a hive. It is probable that this was the future St. Herman of Alaska. In another edition of the book, the brother's name is given as Erasmus. After this account, Subotin mentions Father Herman, who is now in America. The discrepancy in names may be explained if St. Herman's name before his tonsure was Erasmus. St. Herman, in one of his letters to Father Nazarius, says that he had friends at Sarov and Synaxar, so St. Theodore may have been one of St. Herman's early instructors. St. Theodore once visited St. Tikhon at the Zadonsk monastery. It is not known how long the two had known one another, but the retired bishop received him with love. This visit was providential because St. Tikhon also knew what it was to suffer offenses from superiors, from worldly-minded monks, and from laymen. Perhaps he even advised Father Theodore on how to endure the trials which lay ahead of him. When Father Theodore returned to Synaxar, a royal edict was delivered to him by a courier. It ordered him to be sent as an exile to Solovki Monastery as a troublemaker. He was deprived of the rank of igumen and hieromonk, and the superior of Solovki was ordered to keep a close eye on him. Father Theodore remained there for 9 years. His release came about thanks to his disciple Archimandrite Theophanes Sokolov, who found himself assigned as a cell attendant to Metropolitan Gabriel of St. Petersburg. Desiring to help his elder, Father Theophanes made the Metropolitan aware of Father Theodore's situation. His Eminence asked Father Theophanes to prepare a memorandum setting forth the facts of the case in detail. As a result, Metropolitan Gabriel asked Empress Catherine II to release Father Theodore and permit him to return to Synaxar. On April 18, 1783, he issued a decree authorizing his release. Because of his weakened condition from the cold and fumes from smoky stoves, it took him a long time to make his way back to Synaxar. He arrived at Arzamas Monastery on October 9th, 1783, where he was greeted by the sisters and by 2 hieromonks from Synaxar. Others were also on hand to meet the elder, superiors from other monasteries, respected nobles, merchants, and ordinary men and women. He stayed about a week, instructing the nuns each day. Finally, he prepared to return to Synaxar. The entire brethren came to meet him at the ferry on the Moksha River. After receiving his blessing, they accompanied him on the walk to Synaxar. Father Theodore thanked the brethren for their continued love and for completing the church without him. Within a few days after his return, Father Theodore faced renewed persecution. Hierodeacon Hilarion accused him of being a heretic and an atheist and placed these accusations before the Holy Synod. They determined that Hierodeacon Hilarion was at fault and should be punished. He later asked Father Theodore's forgiveness in front of the whole community. The superior of the monastery, Father Benedict, was jealous of Father Theodore because of the crowds of visitors who came to see him. He complained to the local bishop, saying that the quiet of the monastery was being disturbed by so many people. Investigators were sent, but they did not interview anyone who might have said anything favorable to Father Theodore. As a result, Father Theodore was forbidden to receive visitors. Once again, Father Theophanes brought the elder's plight to the attention of Metropolitan Gabriel. His Eminence sent a note saying that he was well disposed toward Father Theodore. As a result, he was given a bit more freedom, but his disciples could only seek his advice by writing letters. Father Benedict became ill, and Father Theodore went to his cell to ask his forgiveness. Father Benedict turned his face to the wall and refused to speak to the elder. After suffering for a while, Father Benedict died on December 27th, 1778. After the superior's death, Father Theodore was once again permitted to visit the nuns of the Alexievsky convent at Arzamas. After delivering a moving homily on Psalm 136 by the rivers of Babylon, he left Arzamas and stopped at the monastery in Sarov. There he asked forgiveness of everyone, then rushed back to Sanaksar. He arrived on Wednesday of Cheese Fair week, which is today, and spoke to his disciples in his cell around noon. Then he dismissed them to return to their cells. Two noble disciples of Saint Theodore remained behind to ask his advice. Suddenly his expression changed, and he began to weep for about 15 minutes, lamenting how he had sinned in his youth. Then he ordered them to their cells, saying that he was feeling weak. It was not rare for the elder to be ill, but this weakness seemed unusual. His two disciples left and returned to their cells. Soon after this, his cell attendant knocked on the door with the customary prayer, but received no reply. He entered the cell and found Father Theodore lying on his bed and praying, so he left and told the brethren about this. They all came to see him, but he would not speak. About 5 hours later, around 9 o'clock on the evening of February 19th, 1791, St. Theodore surrendered his soul to God. St. Theodore's relics were uncovered on April 21st, 1999, and he was glorified for local veneration on June 28th, 1999. He was glorified for national veneration by the Orthodox Church of Russia in 2004. St. Theodore of Sanaksar, who is commemorated on April 21st, the uncovering of his relics in 1999, should not be confused with his famous relative, St. Theodore Ushakov, admiral of the Russian fleet on October 2nd.
Well, heck.
Persecuted by his own.
Wow. There was this theme running through the whole thing of bureaucracy for me.
Yeah.
A lot of bureaucracy.
Yeah. Well, and the, he's disturbing the peace here he's disturbing the quiet here at the monastery. Yeah. It's very similar to, well, why didn't she give this money to the poor? Right?
Yeah.
It's the same concept.
Yeah.
Right.
Hang on, I got to do something with my dogs.
Okay. The greatest Lent ever? I hope so. I pray that this will be the greatest Lent ever. So I think I've shared this before, but I learned last year that the word Lent is Latin for lens. And so it's considered, it's great lens. So you turn a lens on your heart and search it deeply, carefully. And that's also why lentils are called lentils, because they are shaped like two lenses facing each other. Lentil.
Hello, Mr. Olson.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah. That was a frustrating story.
Yeah.
Like someone with so much potential and they just kept being bottled up and bottled up and bottled up.
This happened to St. Nectarios too.
Yeah.
It also happened to St. John Damascene, right?
And I was wondering how this was associated with like a trickle effect, because it seems to me at the time that the Tsar, it was kind of like that Holy Roman Empire, right, with Constantine, where the the emperor or the empress were responsible for the church, right, for the governing of the church. And then you would have, I'm just assuming because of human nature, you'd end up having people who were seeking status, and when that happens, you got all kinds of problems, right? And then obviously they're regulating the monasteries, right? Like, why would they not allow monks to live in the forest? I really wonder.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because that wasn't the monastery that didn't allow it. It was the
it was the empress.
It was the royalty, right? The government, at the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting.
No idea. I don't know the context for that.
Well, like I was talking to somebody, I don't know who it was, somebody, and if it was you, please forgive me, because not that I don't care about who you are.
No, it's what I understand. I have a hard time remembering when I'm having a conversation with multiple people. I can't always forget. I can't always remember who was there.
Yeah.
Like I'll tell a story and someone's like, "I was there, dude. I was sitting right next to you when you said that." I'm like, "Sorry." This could be my wife saying this, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
but oh, now I forgot what I was going to say. It's oh, I just lost it, Jeremy.
I'm sorry. I told a funny story instead of listening.
It's okay. It's okay. It's not your fault. I just lost it. It's kind of like your thing.
Yeah.
Just went off into the ether.
Yeah.
It's all good. Well, we were talking about. Oh, I know what it was. It was just the idea that. Oh, now I lost it again. Something about how these journeys are. Oh, you know what? It might be from that lecture that I was listening to, but it's because Florensky was also a man of such great potential, but he ended up completely like quashed by the government at the time, right?
Yeah.
Even though he continued in the gulags to do good work.
Yeah.
They actually had him working the first time, like for the first, I don't know, 6 years or something that he was in the gulag. They had him working for the government. And because he was also an engineer. So before he got sent to the gulag, he designed the electrical grid for all of Russia.
Wow.
But they gave him another job, and then in the gulag. Okay, here, you go to prison, and then you can, work for us.
Right. Well, that's how it worked.
Well, it was because he was a priest and he wouldn't give up the priesthood. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm totally blanking on what it was I actually wanted to say, so I'm just gonna.
It's okay. I will share actually. So related. If someone is interested, I don't know, it might be a morbid curiosity, but this was actually a very moving book for me. The Colima Tales. So this was...
Yeah, you mentioned this before.
Yeah, this was a man who was basically sent to the gulags for really no reason. And he just wrote little scraps of notes while he was in the gulag for like 9 years. And then when he got out, he turned his notes into short stories, but there's basically short stories that are really closely linked to the experiences he had while he was in the camp. But I think he changed names and kind of combined characters and stuff to, protect anonymity. But it's very moving and it's very sad, but it also really showed like the darkness and also the humanity that existed in those places.
Yeah.
Like the deep hidden humanity in an overall dark place. Right.
So that it says there that it was published in 1995. When did Solzhenitsyn publish the Gulag Archipelago?
Around that same time.
Yeah, so it kind of got lost in the
Yeah.
hubbub.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I
really
read
fantastic.
2 short books by Solzhenitsyn. I never read the Gulag Archipelago because I just don't know if I want to put myself through that.
Yeah.
But these were, one was A Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, which is a story of a guy in a gulag. And the other one was August 1914, which was just, the rebellion and or the Bolsheviks, and right? That's the no, that was 1917.
17.
Now I don't
14
remember.
was the beginning of World War One.
Okay.
Which led to the Bolshevik Revolution 3 years later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. Anyway, sad stories, and then of course there's Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning.
Right.
The first half of that book is a story.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, we did Saint Theodore. Now is Saint Philothea. Let me.
This is not the one with the basket.
Don't remember. No, I don't think so. This one's sad. Warning. This one. Well, Lives of the Saints. We're here to read about martyrs. So, Martyr Philothea, the monastic. The monastic martyr Philothea was born in Athens in 1522. Her parents, Syriga and Angelos, were renowned not only for being eminent and rich, but also deeply devout. Often the kind-hearted Syriga had implored the Most Holy Theotokos for a child. Her fervent prayers were heard, and a daughter was born to the couple. They named her Revula. The parents raised their daughter in deep piety and right belief, and when she was 12 years old, they gave her away in marriage. Her husband turned out to be an impious and crude man who often beat and tormented his wife. Revula patiently endured the abuse, and she prayed to God that he might bring her husband to his senses. After 3 years, Revula's husband died, and she began to labor in fasting, vigil, and prayer. The saint founded a women's monastery in the name of the Apostle Andrew, the first called. When the monastery was completed, the saint was the first to accept monastic tonsure with the name Philothea. During this time, Greece was suffering under the Turkish yoke, and many Athenians had been turned into slaves by the Turkish conquerors. Saint Philothea utilized all her means to free her fellow countrywomen, ransoming many from servitude. Once, 4 women ran away from their Turkish masters, who demanded that they renounce their Christianity and took refuge in the monastery of Saint Philothea. The Turks, having learned where the Greek women had gone, burst into the saint's cell and beat her. They took her to the governor, who threw the holy ascetic into prison. In the morning, a mob of Turks had gathered, and they led her out of the prison. The governor said that if she did not renounce Christ, she would be hacked to pieces. Just when Saint Philothea was ready to accept a martyr's crown, a crowd of Christians assembled by the grace of God. They pacified the judges and freed the holy ascetic. Returning to her monastery, Saint Philothea continued with her efforts of abstinence, prayer, and vigil, for which she was granted the gift of wonder-working. In Patija, an Athens suburb, she founded a new monastery where she struggled in asceticism with the sisters. During the vigil for Saint Dionysius the Areopagite, the Turks seized Saint Philothea and tortured her. Finally, they threw her down on the ground, half dead. The sisters tearfully brought the holy martyr flowing with blood to Kalogriza, where she died on February 19th, 1589. Shortly thereafter, the relics of the holy monastic martyr Philothea were brought to the Athens Cathedral Church.
I have a story, an interesting story to tell, and I'm trying to think of how to tell it because it involves some family members. Now I'm wondering if I should even tell it, but it's just so This is, I mean, not entirely reminding me of it, but somehow reminding me of it because, these stories sound somewhat beyond our comprehension because we think that the world is not like that.
Right.
This is actually somewhat happening today. So my grandson is madly in love and dating for some time now, a young woman from Albania, and her family is Muslim. And her mother works somewhere. I won't say where, but she works somewhere where, she met a 28-year-old Swiss person at work who is interested in marrying one of her daughters. And so she made arrangements because that's what you do. Imagine, okay? The confusing part of this for me is that this guy is not an Albanian or a Muslim, okay? And he came for dinner to meet her oldest daughter and decided he didn't want that one. He wanted the other one, that one. And that happened to be my grandson's girlfriend. And apparently, I've never met her, but I've heard lots of good things about her. She doesn't practice Islam, but she's culturally Muslim, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so she actually had to, the police were called because she was going to be forced into this situation, and she's underage. Okay. And my daughter, my grandson's mother, took her in and called the police for counsel, really, mostly just to find out what can we do for this girl, right? Mm-hmm. Because she's absolutely terrified and she doesn't want to have anything to do with this situation. And then she's very protected. She's very sweet, very naive because she's been very, very protected. And she didn't want to be with my daughter and my grandson in that home. She wanted to go home to her family, which I understand.
Yeah.
But she was afraid to. So eventually she went. And the interesting thing was that my grandson took her out for dinner, and he didn't try to talk her into staying or beg her to stay. He said, "Let's pray." Right?
Yeah.
And so they prayed together. And the last word I've had on the whole thing, which was just a couple of days ago, is that having the police getting involved, because the police actually visited both families, talked to all the different parties involved. I don't think they talked to the guy who wanted the underage bride. I wish they would. Who's that guy? But I think that my daughter said that really kind of put the mother in a position where she has to watch her moves. So there's been a promise made that that's off the table. She's not going to force her daughter into this situation, and So yeah, anybody watching this, you could pray for her. You don't need to know her name. You can pray.
Right.
God knows who she is, and also for my grandson, because, and here's the other interesting part to this story, Jeremy. My grandson's grandmother, so my son-in-law's mother, is half Egyptian and half Swiss. Her mother was enamored, by an Egyptian man who was visiting Switzerland, and they eloped to Egypt and married. And then he became like Philothea's husband.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they had Aida, which is Andy's mom, my son-in-law's mom. And eventually Aida and her mother and her little baby at the time, or her young daughter. No, she was actually 14 or something. I think she was going to be married off actually at a very young age. And that's what prompted everything. Her mother just had to escape. She had to literally escape. And this is like, well, Aida's my age. So it was like 50 years ago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody ever saw Not Without My Daughter with Sally Fields. It was exactly that scenario. Okay. That Aida's mom had to sneak out of the country and escape with her daughter back to Switzerland. And now this is like her
recapitulating
her grandson, right?
Right.
It's just, yeah, these things, like, I don't think anything is by chance. So I'm just like, this is really, really. And then Aida warned her son and my daughter that if he was in a Muslim country, he would be dead.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because
he's unclean. He's not Muslim.
Right.
And he's a Christian, which is even worse.
Right. Even worse. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, prayers, people. Okay.
Yeah, these are difficult situations.
Yeah.
Where you have very different cultures. You have one culture embedded in another culture, right? But they're not.
Yeah, but still doing their thing.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where it's really tricky, because they get the authorities involved, and the authorities, Canada is
this is not
Christian ethics. This is not Canada. Oh, it's in Switzerland. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and thank God it's in Switzerland, because if it was in Germany or France, nothing would be done.
Right, nothing would happen.
But Switzerland still has a baseline of ethics and a certain, like, I don't know about the country, the government, what their policies are, but I know that for the citizens of Switzerland, this is how we do things here, and that's not how we do things here, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. There's
that thing going on.
Right. Right.
So, So thank God for that, because I think in some of those other European countries, that police wouldn't have gotten involved at all.
Right. No. Yeah. Woo. That's a tough situation. Well, may we, we'll definitely pray for them, and may they also have the intercession of the saints.
Amen.
So.
Yeah.
Saint,
so she's home with her she's home with her family, and I feel for her, because there's something about at that age, like, she's underage, she's a young girl, and you know how boys have to go through initiation to actually detach from their families?
Right.
Girls do too. They it's called marriage, actually.
Yeah.
They detach from one and attach to another. Like, they're never really just floating around. It's not safe for girls to float around. Okay?
I agree.
And so that, I think that's the impulse that she had, why she wanted to go home, right? That's the impulse, that it's just too weird. It's not safe.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Even though it's probably safer.
Right. But there is also the familiarity, and it's her family, and it's the culture she grew up in.
And she has siblings who love her, and all that,
It's also hard, because there is the culture she lived in her home, but then there's the larger culture that she's
part of.
part of that is very different, and so there's a tension there that has to be resolved,
Yeah.
and that'll take her whole life to resolve it.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We have one more. We do have one more saint.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, we have one more saint.
Oh,
we have another Saint Leo. We've got two Saint Leos
okay.
tonight.
Yeah, I'm just reading it here. Yeah, Leo.
Yeah. No, this is a beautiful story. This one's not
I'm
long.
sorry for that long interruption. I forgot.
No, it's fine. No, it's okay. And this is the patron saint of a very close friend of mine. So this was a nice reminder to wish him a happy name day coming up.
Yeah.
So, Saint Leo, Bishop of Catania in Sicily. Saint Leo was born in Ravenna, Italy, of pious and noble parents.
Okay, wait. After this, you got to look up Ravenna, and we got to look at the pictures of that church in Ravenna.
Okay.
If this guy's from Ravenna,
he is from Ravenna.
We got to show the pictures of that church in Ravenna.
Sounds beautiful. Saint Leo was born in Ravenna, Italy, of pious and noble parents. He was famed for his benevolence and charity, as well as his Christian love for the poor and wanderers. After completing his studies, he was ordained as a priest at Ravenna, and later, because of his purity and his most spiritual life, he was consecrated as Bishop of Catania in Sicily. He became the protector of orphans and widows, teaching and shepherding his flock. The saint was also distinguished for his struggles against heretics, whom he defeated and shamed, not only by his words, but also through his writings. The Lord honored him with the charisms of healing people from various diseases and of working miracles. During St. Leo's episcopate, there was a sorcerer named Heliodoros, who lived in Catania and deceived people with his fraudulent miracles. He was once a Christian, but then he denied the Savior and became a servant of the devil. St. Leo urged Heliodoros to refrain from his evil deeds and return to God, but all in vain. One day, Heliodoros audaciously entered the church where the bishop was performing the divine services and tried to create a disturbance, sowing confusion and temptation with his sorcery. Seeing the people beset by demons under the sorcerer's spell, St. Leo knew that the time for meek exhortation had passed. He came out of the altar and tied his omophorion around the sorcerer's neck. So that's the cloth he wears around his neck.
Oh, okay.
He tied his omophorion around the sorcerer's neck, leading him out of the church and into the city square. There he forced Heliodoros to confess all his wicked deeds. Then he commanded that a fire be lit, and jumped into the flames with the sorcerer. There they stood until Heliodoros was consumed by the fire. Saint Leo, by God's grace, remained unharmed. Wow. This miracle brought the hierarch great renown during his lifetime. Therefore, the saint was invited to visit Constantinople by Emperors Leo IV and Constantine VI, where he received many honors. Saint Leo reposed peacefully in 785. After his death, a woman with an issue of blood received healing at his grave. The saint's body was placed in the church of the Holy Martyr Lucy, which he himself had built. Later on, his relics were transferred to the Church of St. Martin, the Bishop of Tours in Rome. This is not, there's also icons of him staying in a fire with Heliodoros. I'll see if I can find one real quick. It's pretty great.
Shall I drop a link in?
Yeah, sounds good. Images.
I think
I'm going to find an icon of him in the fire.
Please join us if you want.
If you want to talk to us, if you have stories or questions,
bring some
anecdotes,
bring something poetry in that we haven't talked about. You know?
Yeah, we'd love that.
Thoughts, whatever thoughts you might have.
I can't find an icon of him in the fire. I've seen one, but I can't find it.
Oh.
Yeah, there's icons of him standing in the fire with Heliodoros. So that's another one of those stories that you're just never going to make sense of. You're never. No. This is here's one. Here we go. This is probably more of a painting than an icon, but it will
suffice.
It will suffice.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
interesting. Okay, you gotta first Wikipedia Ravenna, and then
okay.
we'll look at some images. Because Ravenna is still to this day, I think, an Orthodox church.
Okay, so
An early church, and it's also believed that it's where Dante went and contemplated. There's a lot of iconography in the church in Ravenna, which was probably quite, what's the word, like different than what everybody was used to. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can read about it, so we get the years and stuff.
Well, and here's what's wild. I didn't know this. Ravenna was the capital city of the Western Roman Empire during the 5th century until its collapse in 476, after which it served as the capital of the Ostrogothic kingdom and then the Byzantine Exarchate of Ravenna. Wow. So, okay, here's the outside.
Very unassuming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful, but it's kind of unassuming. Wait till you see the inside.
I love this design. I love how it's all just, I love it. Oh my goodness. Oh, we were just looking through more pictures of Ravenna. So the Cathedral of Ravenna is what we want to see. Ravenna Cathedral, huh? Here we go.
Thank you very much,
goodness.
I really appreciate it. Good night.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
So there's different chapels in this church.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just go to like images, Google Images or whatever, and Google Ravenna.
All right.
I can't remember what year. Oh, can you go back to the Wikipedia? I'm sorry.
Sure.
And find out if some of those buildings were built. I think they were built at different times, of course, right?
Yes.
The earliest when that was with the iconography that I'm thinking about.
Okay. Hold on. So Ravenna was built in like
the church. I mean,
it's the church. Hold on, let me look at the cathedral. It was built in the early 5th century, and it was originally called Basilica Ursiana. During the Battle of Ravenna in April 1512, the basilica was sacked. In the 18th century, it was rebuilt in the Baroque style. The cathedral houses the sarcophagi of Maximianus of Ravenna. A couple of other. Anyway, so it was built in the 400s, in the 5th century.
Okay.
So now I have so I have images here. Let me share. This is maybe more of what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like those are all mosaics.
Yes, and you got to zoom in on some of that stuff. Like it's just insanely. This is a bucket list place for me. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, it looks like there's different eras of art too, right?
Yeah, so but I want to look at the early Byzantine iconography in it because it's there's a lot of blue in Ravenna, which is really interesting because that's
a low quality picture. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, look at these.
Wow.
Mark Vernon did a video from Ravenna. He went there on his channel.
Wow.
I don't know if I can't remember. I just remember him standing outside talking about it. I don't remember if he showed anything from the inside, but
that's phenomenal.
It's just amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
Mm.
And then I just wanted to look up one more thing here on my iPad.
That's another low resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah, look at the. Can you zoom in on that icon over there? It's the Good Shepherd. Look at.
Yeah, let me open it in a different tab. 1 second.
It's so
we'll
beautiful.
be able to see it better. Whoa. We did indeed zoom in.
Okay, Dante Alighieri, the supreme poet of Italy, spent his final years in exile in Ravenna. Okay?
There's someone else exiled.
Yeah. His remains are housed in a neoclassical 18th century tomb of Dante built near the Basilica of San Francisco, located in the protected zone of silence in Ravenna's historic center.
Wow. Okay, we got to go to Ravenna. That's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Ravenna Zone of Silence. Check that out.
Okay.
Although born in Florence, Dante was exiled and Ravenna became his refuge, famously refusing to return his bones to Florence. So
the Zone of Silence. Let me share this. This is from Ravenna Tourism website. The Zone of Silence. In Ravenna, when people talk about the Zone of Silence, they refer to the portion of the historical center that has Dante's tomb as its main focus. This area is a result of the series of urban works carried out between 1920s and 1930s. It consists of some of the most important monuments connected with the so-called father of the Italian language. Dante's tomb, the Quadrarco of, I'm sorry, I can't say these words, old Franciscan cloisters, Dante Museum, Casa Dante, and the Basilica of San Francisco. The project, designed by architect Giorgio Rossi, was originally meant to create an area of respect, peace, and tranquility around Dante's sepulchre, including the monument of the Quadrarco and the old Franciscan cloisters. Works were carried out and the area was closed to the traffic and isolated from the noise of city life. This conferred to the entire area a dimension of sacredness and contemplation, thus becoming the earthly last refuge of Dante. Through a series of demolitions and reconstructions, new squares and traffic diversions, the Zone of Silence became a fundamental intervention example of the city's urban history. So.
Oh, look, there's a little video. Can we watch it?
Oh, sure. We'll pull it up.
Maybe make it quiet.
Yes, we'll quiet it. So it looks like they went in the fall. So this is probably not
there's the tomb.
Yeah.
That looks like the tomb.
This is very understated considering it's in Italy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I find the whole thing is, but then you walk into the building and you feel like you're in heaven. Like,
yeah,
it's really interesting the way that it's done there.
Oh, those arches are amazing.
We should start some kind of like TLC pilgrimages once a year or once every 2 years.
There you go.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm on pilgrimage in a couple of weeks, going up to, I'm going to Vashon Island in Washington.
Oh, really?
I'm going to visit my sister.
My sister wants to go there so badly.
Yeah, my sister lives in Seattle, and so I'm going to visit her. And while I'm there, we're going to the monastery one day. So, and I get to meet with Abbot Tryphon, which I've wanted to do for a really long time. So
cool.
I'm really excited. Enjoying listening, but I'm falling asleep. I'm sorry we're doing this late for you East Coast people, but we're grateful you're here.
Yeah.
But it's I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, that would be, It would be cool to set up pilgrimages to monasteries and go and visit, or to these like holy places.
Yeah.
Go see. That'd be great. But Ravenna sounds like a place that just got on my bucket list as well.
Yeah.
So that's
definitely.
amazing.
Yeah, when I first saw photos of Ravenna, I was just like, what this is amazing. Yeah. There's a cloister in is that what you call it in English? Cloister? Yeah. Right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Because it's the same word in German. But that we would go to in Switzerland called Einsiedeln. And there was actually a hermit there. What was his name? We used to go sledding on the hill where his cell was, where his cave was.
Yeah.
What was his name? I'm going to see if I can find it. Hermit of Einsiedeln. I'm just curious, actually, what year that was. Saint Meinrad, that was his name. But my stupid iPad, because the Google AI probably takes up too much of my memory because my iPad's so old.
Yeah.
That it just keeps shutting off and I got to keep refreshing it.
Oh, man.
Oh, gosh. Come on. I got to get a new iPad, Jeremy. It's just over the top.
You can do it.
700s, I think. I'm just getting glimpses of it. Come on. Jeez. Give me a break. 797 to 861. Saint Meinrad of Einsiedeln. He was known as the martyr of hospitality. He was murdered in 1861 by 2 robbers.
Wow.
He was a Benedictine monk who established a hermitage in the Swiss woods. And there's actually like a little hill near Einsiedeln, which is called Sankt Meinrad. So it's because it's where he lived in the woods there. Are you looking him up?
No, I was looking up a poem I was going to share with you.
Oh, okay.
There was a lovely story. It's completely unrelated to what you were talking about. I'm sorry, but
just like a little bit confused.
I know this is my non sequitur of the day. Which there's a fun tie. Non sequitur. I'd never heard that phrase until I went to Canada, and apparently my conversations are filled with them because there were several Canadians who were just like, "Well, there's a non sequitur," and I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, but it's like I get it because sometimes stuff connects for you that doesn't connect for anybody else, and you're just like,
yeah.
You know? Here's a fun fact.
Okay, so what got me was just you talking about sledding and being in nature and the hermit and hermitage and
yeah,
there was this guy he was talking, and I can't find his reflection, but I did find the poem that he shared.
Okay.
So I'll share the poem and then I will share with you his reflection. So the poem is, and I don't know who wrote this. I don't know the title of it. I just captured this real quick. Wide sparkling fields, snow vestured, lie beneath a blue unshadowed sky. A glistening splendor crowns the woods and bosky whistling solitudes. In hemlock glen and reedy mere, the tang of frost is sharp and clear. Life hath a jollity and zest, a poignancy made manifest. Laughter and courage have their way at noontide of a winter's day. So he went to visit a friend who lived on the beach. And he said, she has made me realize that she and I see completely different worlds.
Wait,
and he was talking about knowledge.
Who has a friend living on a beach?
This person this reflection. I don't know. I don't remember who this was.
Oh, okay.
This is the reflection I read. I'm just sharing with you.
Yeah, okay.
I think it was a Substack, but I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
okay.
So he was just saying he was visiting a friend who lived on the beach, and he was saying she has shown me that we see completely different worlds. Because he said we walked out on the beach, and my brain is going, there's the sky, there's clouds, there's the sun, there's the water, there's the sand, and she is instantly seeing the weather and what the weather's doing and what the weather's going to be doing. She's seeing if the tide is coming in and out. She knows each species of bird that we see. He said, I see bird. She sees osprey, seagull, all these different birds. She sees all the different types of clouds. She sees these different waves and what they mean. And she sees all, how the wind is moving across the water. And he said, she, because of her relationship with this place and her effort to integrate and to acknowledge and see what's there and to have distinct relationships and interactions with each aspect of this environment, and then as an integrated experience of being in the environment. And he's like, me, I'm stuck with caveman words and comic book reflections on it, right? And he was just talking about like this depth of familiarity and her ability to see the beauty in every aspect of what she was witnessing, and revealing to him just how dulled his senses were and how stunted he was in his participation in the world, especially when he's more, closer to a natural environment, where he was just like, I'm just a city dullard who, couldn't survive here for more than a day. Right.
Yeah.
And she's been living here for years, So anyway, I've been reflecting on that more as I've been taking this ancient cosmology class and talking about looking at the stars and watching the skies and watching the heavens and the moon. And, yesterday was the new moon, and now, I wasn't able to see it because we had a fully cloudy sky and it was snowing, but just beginning to participate in that, beginning to look at the sky and what the stars are doing. And today I just went out and the sunset was phenomenal, and you have this beautiful pink sky that's reflecting in pink in the snow. And it's just like this beautiful, unique color and moment that will never be there will be iterations of it every day. There's an iteration of it, but it's never the same, right? And this I've been studying more about nepsi is how you say it in Greek. Nepsi, which is guarding, right? And it also means attending and following. Like he said, nepsi is like someone who you really admire and you want to be like them, so you begin to follow them and watch what they do and then begin to act like them. That's nepsi as well, right? And he was saying, but part of that is also asceticism is about, as much as you can, denying the physical world so that you can begin to contemplate the spiritual nature of the world.
And I always want to clarify this, and I haven't sat down to articulate my thoughts, because this is not Gnosticism. This is not the world is evil and fallen. It's actually the opposite. It's I like to say it like this, that it's where the mundane becomes sacred. And this is my example, my personal example. So when I hung Saint Seraphim up, I went out that day with, the icon and a drill and, several things, right?
Yeah.
Into the woods. And I took a rake with me because I thought I have to clean up the place. It has to be beautiful and perfect. So I hung up the icon and then I got my rake and I went to rake. and I couldn't.
Mm.
I was like, I can't move anything.
Mm.
Because now everything became sacred.
Yes. Yes.
And suddenly, this whole grove of trees took on this sacramental nature that wasn't even there when I got there.
Right.
I just thought it was a good spot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what Nepsis shows you.
Yes.
And
This is, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you finish because there's
well, I just wanted to end it
yeah.
with there's a Michael Martin always uses the example of the end of the Thin Red Line movie where the young man says, I see all things shining.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
that.
It's the scripture too. I see men as trees walking.
Mm-hmm. Well, that, that when you read that thing that he wrote there, that's what he's starting to see, right? Is all things shining, right?
Yes. Yes.
The sacramental nature of creation.
Yes. So there's a quote that I was going to share from Saint Isaac the Syrian talking about the death to the world.
Thank you. Yeah.
So he says the world is the general name for all the passions. When we wish to call the passions by a common name, we call them the world. But when we wish to distinguish them by their special names, we call them the passions. The passions are the following: love of riches, desire for possessions, bodily pleasure from which comes sexual passion, love of honor, which gives rise to envy, lust for power, arrogance, and pride of position, the craving to adorn oneself with luxurious clothes and vain ornaments, the itch for human glory, which is a source of rancor and resentment and physical fear. Where these passions cease to be active, there the world is dead. For though living in the flesh, they did not live for the flesh. See for which of these passions you are alive. Then you will know how far you are alive to the world and how far you are dead to it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about Gnosticism. We're talking about
the opposite.
Subduing your passions so that you can begin to see. You can begin to see things as they really are in this world. Because when Christ, at the end, at the apocalypse, we're not going anywhere else.
No.
We'll be right here. But it will be changed. And you will see it. This is the same as like in the church fathers talking about Mount Tabor at the transfiguration of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that Christ was transfigured. It says in the scriptures, the veil of their eyes was removed.
Right.
Christ was like that the whole time.
That's exactly what Saint Seraphim of Sarov says to Motovilov in the story. Because Motovilov, his disciple, says suddenly to him, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening to you? And then Saint Seraphim says, what do you see? He said, I see you shining like radiant light from your face. And he said, well, then it's happening to you too, because you can see it.
Right. Right.
And then the story goes on to describe the two of them standing there, feeling warm all over, smelling a fragrance. They're in the place, right?
Yes.
And I just thought of that example because it is an unveiling, really.
Right. Yeah. And and I think that's what the ascetic life is about, and that's what the sacramental worldview is about. It's about trying to recapture that experience of seeing the spiritual in the physical. It's not that you are rejecting the physical; it's that the true nature of the physical is being revealed to you, and that it's revealing. The heavens declare the kingdom of God, right? It's like, and always, but it's not in language. And that's where you have to begin to contemplate. This is where silence and cultivating being bored.
Here's something
Comes
that's
in.
related, but in that non sequitur kind of way.
I love it. Yeah, great.
The Rebus Treasury. So my daughter was given this, my oldest daughter was given this when she was little by a friend. And I'm just going to read you. I need my other glasses. And then I'll show you what it is exactly. Okay, what is a rebus? A rebus is a text in which pictures substitute for words, as in, I love you. Can you see that?
Up a little bit. Up. There we go. I love you. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The rebuses in this book have been written for young children and their parents to sing and say together. A good way to go through the rebus treasury is for parents to run their finger under each line, pausing at the rebus picture and waiting for the child to read it. After a while, the child will memorize most of the words to the songs and rhymes and will be able to read them on his or her own. Since rebuses are based on the idea that symbols stand for words, they are an excellent introduction to the alphabet and reading. So it's a symbolic reading of the words, right? And so you've got these rhymes. This is, I eat my peas with honey. I've done it all my life. It makes the peas taste funny, but it keeps them on my knife. Let's see.
Nice. I eat my peas with honey. I've done it all my life. It makes the peas taste funny, but it keeps them on my knife.
Yeah. And this was actually developed for reading, right? Like,
yes.
Like this, you know, these guys, this one.
The old woman who lived in a shoe. Oh, nice. That's great.
But what struck me about reading the introduction again is that they took the symbolic truth of language seriously. Yes. And developed this, okay? And I'm just trying to remember where it was. I read this recently, if it was a Douglas Harding thing or if it was Florensky. But they were talking about how a child sees the world. A child sees the world symbolically. They don't see the world like they literally see it symbolically. I don't even know how to explain it now because I have to start writing things down.
They literally see it symbolically. That's very that's going to throw a lot of people's minds spinning right there.
They symbolically see it symbolically.
What? They literally see it symbolically. What? You know, I just looked up your book online to see if I could get a copy for myself, and the hardcover version of that sells for $94.
You're kidding. You know what? No. I got this at the Salvation Army the other day because really? I gave my copy to my daughter because it was her book.
Right.
And I found this at the Salvation Army 2 days ago, and I got it with a pile of other kids' books for $4.
Wow.
Because it was $4 for a box.
Well, flip it on Amazon.
No.
No.
No way, Jose.
Nope.
Yeah. No, I got a bunch of kids' books because, and I think I'm going to keep this one for myself because I've never seen this anywhere. I was shocked. Yeah, I pulled it off the shelf. I'm like, oh my God, because I don't have my copy anymore. Gave it to my daughter.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Well, that's $100 bill you got in your hand there. That's like $500 Canadian. Yeah, that's like $500 Canadian.
Actually,
plus tax.
I went and exchanged my Swiss francs that I got for my birthday and Christmas that I just kept saving up. You know, I got 100 for my birthday and 100 from my mother-in-law, and I went and cashed them in. That's 200 Swiss francs. Okay, mm-hmm. 2 $100 or Swiss franc bills.
Yeah.
365 Canadian dollars.
Ooh.
Even
Wow.
the bank teller was shocked.
Yeah, that's
I
quite
said
an
to her, "Why are
exchange
you
rate there.
shocked? Our dollar has no value.
Yeah.
We're almost at the same position that the mark was in just before."
Yeah, we're in the same spot here. They just dumped another 13 billion in our economy like a week ago. So not even a week ago, like 3 days ago. It's great.
Yeah. Mm.
So yeah, but yeah.
Oh, we've known since 2008 that we're all on life support. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've known since 1972 when they took us off the gold standard. It was a matter of time, right? Like they're gonna do the same thing they did in the Great Depression. In the Great Depression, they made it illegal to own gold. You had to sell your gold to the government. They paid you $22 an ounce. Once they had bought all the gold, then they turned around and immediately overnight just changed the price of gold to $35 so that the government could pay off their debt.
Mm.
This is what they do.
It's like when you read that in that story of Saint Theodore, of how the government went out to find monks living in the forest.
Yeah, like
what?
That's a sign of that's a sign of of tyranny. I mean, that's too much fiddling in your affairs. You know,
it's also
like,
the sign of a government that's losing its grip.
Right. Well, and there's no. I mean, the United States is like this, where there's no like unowned land. There's land that's owned, and then there's government land.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go where you could. There's no.
Well, there is a
hinterlands. You know, there's no like.
There is a loophole. I don't know about the States, but in Canada, we have what they call crown land, because it doesn't even belong to the country; it belongs to Charles.
Right. Yeah,
that's a whole other.
Dead, long live the king.
Yeah, but so I knew a family who told me this, because this is what they did. They lived. You can camp on crown land for 2 weeks, and then you have to move.
We have that with National Forest and BLM land. Yeah, technically you can live there for 2 weeks and then you have to move.
Yeah, so you just move 3 feet over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they didn't put up any structures. They slept under tarps, and they kept it pretty, temporary, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, like the old guy, he's been passed away now for a number of years. But the guy that he grew up on our homestead, like when he was like, his father owned this homestead in the 30s. And he came here to visit, and then saw my big percheron, and his father hayed for all the ranches around here. So he had draft horses. So Gordon grew up with draft horses, and that was their income. Right. So his dad would go out, collect up these seasonal crews, and then they'd go out to all the ranches and they'd hay with horse and wagon.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. And Gordon, he came to visit one day out of the blue, saying that he had grown up here and wanted to see the place. And then we got to know him. Wow. And then he saw that I had a big horse, and said, you know what, I'm gonna come out, and we're gonna hook him up to my wagon, and we're gonna drive him out to my place. And by the time we get there, you'll be a teamster and he'll be broke. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
So he showed up here one day. It took us 9 hours to go. I'm trying to remember how far. I think 30 kilometers he lived away. But what I wanted to say about him was he squatted his whole life. He had a mobile trailer, like a mobile home, a really old one from the 50s. He had propane for lights and a wood stove. He had a radio phone when we first got to know him. I think he always had a radio phone, actually. And he used to have to go out of his place with his truck and drive onto a hill to be able to use it, because he didn't even have reception down in the dip that he was in. He did everything with horses. He hayed his own place. He had natural meadows, which is what the old timers used to hay around here, for these low spots that would be wet after the runoff. And he had some cows, and so he took my horse, Merlin, And him and I and Uli, my husband, we did the trip with other people too. It was great. It was so
Wow.
great.
Yeah, I bet.
And he showed me how to pluck his tail and yeah, all this stuff. It was and he was 85 when he did this.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he kept it for the summer. He kept Merlin for the summer and he worked him. So he got, because he had 2 Belgian mares that he worked on his place. And he would hook Merlin up with one of those 2 mares. And he said to me, he said, this horse is amazing. Most of the young horses that I hook up to my mares, they don't work very hard. They let my mares do all the work because they don't know what they're doing. He said it was the opposite with Merlin. He was just raring to go,
Yeah.
And then, so he logged with him. He hayed with him. He mowed because he had a horse-drawn mower. And then he not disc, but
harrow.
No, it's the thing that turns the hay, the wheels.
Yeah.
You have to know, like,
winnowing rake.
Winnowing. Every single piece of equipment is a new sound for a horse.
Right.
So it matters, right? If they've been exposed to all these different pieces of equipment. So yeah, he mowed, he winnowed, he baled, and with a small square baler. That was also, actually, I don't know if the baler was horse drawn. I can't remember. And then he had hay wagon. And on that day, everybody, all the neighbors, my husband, everybody went out there and threw bales on the wagon, and Merlin pulled the wagon. So Merlin does everything. And we have a sled and a wagon.
Oh, that's fun.
So he pulls the sled and he pulls the wagon and
that's fun.
And all that stuff. But why was I telling? Oh, I was just telling you all this because for 30 years, Gordon squatted on his land. Actually, probably longer. And when he got really infirm, he went and lived on a ranch. They moved his same trailer onto his daughter's ranch because he didn't want to. He wouldn't live with anybody. And then all the kids had to go out and tear down all the fences, all the outbuildings, everything. Yeah.
Interesting. That reminded me of one of my favorite documentaries. I will share it. Have you seen this? Have you seen Alone in the Wilderness?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. A guy who basically builds himself a cabin in Canada, and he lived there for like 30 years. He would go home sometimes home. I mean, he would go to city for, sometimes, but most of the time he lived out here. And then he had a friend who would fly him supplies every couple of weeks, would land on his lake and bring him stuff. But he lived out in the wilderness. Is great. And he just filmed himself building it. And then he narrated it later. It's really, really a great documentary.
It's really, really good. And it's been an inspiration for a lot of people.
Yeah. This was my fantasy life. This is what got me through, like, imagining doing that is what got me through a traumatic childhood. Like, I was just always wanting to run off into the wilderness of Canada, build a cabin, and
well, here the thing is, there's so much space here that, I mean, back in the old days, they squatted all the time and nobody bothered anybody because it was no skin off their back if you sat on a piece of ground for 20 years. You're not going to live forever, right?
Right.
And now, of course, they've got way more. Like, actually, my husband just told me the day before yesterday that we have to now pay a tax on our landline. We've never paid a tax on our landline. It's just a new tax now. And all our property taxes are going up. Yeah. And we've had like the most minimal property taxes because we live in an agricultural land reserve because we're so rural. We don't have any services really to speak of, But Yeah, and then they started making rules about water rights, and they started making rules about building another building on your property, like another house, housing another family.
Yeah.
We've got a piece of property that's a mile long and a quarter of a mile wide, and
Right. Yeah.
legally we can't build a house for our children or grandchildren. But luckily enough, we have an old homestead up there with several houses on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can renovate those because all that stuff's grandfathered in, right?
That's crazy.
But this is why when I was listening to that story of St. Theodore, I was going insane, because this is the kind of bureaucracy that screams to me failing state.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
Trying to control everything.
And suck.
Yes.
It's like sucking bone marrow out of a bone, Jeremy.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Give it up.
Which is tasty, by the way. But yeah. Like here's the deal. You get a femur, you get the beef femur, and you roast it at like 400 degrees. And then you take that out. You do it for like 20 or 30 minutes, 400, or I don't know what that is in Freemason units, but
yeah,
I learned it's actually Jesuit units, but anyway,
I use 400s.
Yeah. So 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you take it out and you scoop it out and you put that on a biscuit. And so you have biscuits with bone marrow. And I'm telling you,
it's really good when you roast it. It's not so great when you make soup with them. The bone marrow.
Right. No, I don't really like it in soup either.
Well, I mean, I usually take the bones out when I make my beef broth. And then my husband comes over and he's like, "Oh, all that marrow is in there. That's good stuff. We need to, and I'm like, go ahead, taste it. It's not good.
Yeah.
When it's been boiling for 8 hours.
Yeah, when it's been boiling, it's just like
it needs to be roasted.
Yeah, it does. It needs to be cooked at a higher temperature.
Roasted and have that,
yeah,
roasty taste to it.
It's tasty on a biscuit.
Yeah, that's they call marrow in German Mark. And yeah, so they put it on toast. That's what they do.
There you go. Yummy. It's good.
That's your German roots coming out.
I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like sheep herder habits die hard. Yeah. I'm from a long line of sheep herders. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was when you were talking about that guy's camper, it reminded me of sheep camps, because that's what my family had. I'll share what a sheep camp looks like.
Yeah, let's see.
So it looks like a trailer like this, right? It's got the 4 wheels and it's got that's a newer one, but the older ones looked like this. Not that one. This is a good one, but it's a tiny picture, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So anyway, but what was nice about it, this is a very modern one. This is not, my family did not look like that inside. No, they look like this. So it was just wood, and then there's a bed in there, and then on your right there's a stove,
right?
Like a wood
How
stove.
wide was it approximately? Because just tell me.
Just like a regular.
Go to this picture.
No, here we go.
The awning.
This is what they looked like that my family lived in.
Oh, okay.
They would live in these in the summer, basically.
Can you go to the one that has the awning right there below? Right below.
This one?
No, a little further down. Down. The wooden one with the awning sticking out.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the deal. I have an actual covered wagon that I bought from a guy who bought it. He was in a different town, but he bought it from my area, and it belonged to a man and his wife, and they used to camp all over this area with it because they had draft horses. And I was just thinking the other day, because due to illness and hip replacements and heart surgeries and all that kind of thing, we haven't used it for a long time. And I thought, you know what? I should just take that and convert it into a camper like that.
Yeah, there you go.
And so it's narrow at the base, but you can make it wider at the top.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because like you could just walk on this part, and then these were like shelves, and the stove. This one doesn't look like it has a stove, but all the ones that my family had a wood stove in them.
Yeah, see, that's what
Like oh, here you go. Here's a guy pulling one. Whoops. Here's a guy pulling one with
right.
horses.
Yeah.
This is my childhood right here.
Oh, so nice, Jeremy.
Yeah,
He's got
they're
a
a lot
wood
of fun.
stove too.
Yep, he's got a wood stove.
I've got rubber tires on my wagon because the guy that built it meant to do quite a few miles in it. And yeah, see?
Yeah, this one's got wagon wheels. Ours had like regular wheels and an axle,
Yeah,
and
same.
it had
Mine does
tongue,
too.
so you
And
could pull it
he
behind a
actually
truck.
has 2 bucket seats from a car in the front.
Oh yeah.
So it's not so hard on your bum. Yeah, that's what mine looks like with the real tires.
Yeah, this is very similar. This is basically what my family had. Both sides of my family had these. They were really nice to sleep in. They're very comfortable. They're well insulated, especially with a wood stove. You cook. You're setting up a fire to cook dinner.
Well, here's the other.
They would do sourdough biscuits every night. Like they would just leave sourdough out. Like feed it every morning, and at night you'd have sourdough biscuits and lamb. That's
what a childhood, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I never actually camped out in one.
Oh man, it's fun.
But you know what? The other thought I had was we could turn it into a mobile sauna.
There you go. So you could haul it around to your friends.
So I could take it back to the lake in the wintertime.
Oh yeah, nice.
And then cut a hole in the ice. But then in the summer, I could bring it back to the house, close to the house.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Because we're really thinking about a sauna.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at that construction and I'm thinking, that would be the perfect sauna.
Yep.
It'd be mobile.
Yep. You could make it as toasty as you wanted in there. Just build a fire. I mean, that's how the Russian bathhouses are, right? So
really,
what are those? Yeah.
Show
hold
me.
On. I can't remember what they're called. There's a word. They have them. Oh yeah, banya. They have them in Alaska too. So let's share screen. Some of them have like more than one room. They'll have like they would have you would come in and there was like a dressing room where you get undressed, and that's where you would run the fire as well. And then they had a room that was like with showers, and then you would go into the banya. And they do dry or wet. So you can just go in there and make it hot, or you can
I think I watched
pour water on the rocks and make it like really steamy, So,
yeah.
Anyway, so this is one thing interesting that I've noticed. So we've been going to the sauna here lately, and when I was a kid, like you were silent in the sauna. Oh, here's like a temporary. Here's just like a makeshift one in the woods.
They call these sweat lodges here. The First Nations make these all the time.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, this is
sweat lodge.
Old medicine here.
Yeah.
So anyway, so when I was a kid, like sauna is kind of like, I don't know, like a secular sacred space. It's kind of like hey, it's contemplative. And now, because of phones, everyone has their phone in there.
What?
So you have people so you have people with headphones who are like,
oh, that's ridiculous,
drumming with their feet or drumming with their hands because they're oblivious.
They can't stay still for a minute.
Anyone, they have to be listening, and people are reading on their phones. People are having conversations. People are like just making comments and talking, and you're just like, what is going on? It's like
it mustn't be hot enough in that sauna.
Yeah, like I think my wife and I were talking. I was like, I think we just need to build a sauna at home because this is crazy. Like the whole point of it is to go in there and it's kind of meditative, right? Yeah, you're sweating and there's
and it's
it's purifying in your mind. It stills your mind. It calms your mind. At least for me. And
I mean, I grew up in Sault Ste. Marie area there, and there's a huge Finnish population. So all my friends had sauna, and we used to go on a regular basis. go for sauna. And then we had friends in Switzerland who also had one, and every Friday we used to go to their place, and all the women would go together and all the men would go together for sauna. And they did it Finnish style, where you go in for so long and then you come out, you cool off with, depending on what you had. Some in Sault Ste. Marie, people would roll in the snow, or in Switzerland we just had a cold shower, and then you sit and drink, and let the other crew go, and then you switch out, and you do that 3 times, right, back and forth. And what's so interesting about that is after a while you get into a rhythm with your body. Like, your body has to go through like several phases of being able to literally sweat, like to sweat.
Yeah.
When I first started doing it, I didn't sweat for a long time. It took me forever to start sweating. But the more you do sauna, the faster you sweat.
See, I have the opposite. I sweat.
Oh, really?
Like, I just stand up and I sweat, right? It's like, it's rough. Like, hey, I'll take out the trash, and I come back and I broke a sweat, right? Like, I don't know. But it's not just from being a big guy. I've always been like that. I've always just I'm very cold adapted, and I don't do well in heat at all. Right. Like,
and you live in Utah, of all places.
It's not too bad here. It probably gets around 100.
But you're up high, right?
105. Yeah, we're at like 4,000 feet. Yeah, it gets up to 100, but not for very long. Usually only for less than a week during the summer. Most of the time it's in the 80s and 90s. It's actually quite pleasant. But I don't. Yeah, I much prefer the cold. Like, I don't.
Yeah, me too.
It has to get below 45 or 40. It gets below 40 for more than half an hour, and I need to put on a jacket. That's how it is, right? Like, I like the cold. If I wasn't married, my house would be 50 year round.
Oh, wow.
Summer or winter, right? Like, I would have a very expensive air conditioning bill. But in the winter time, I would not run a heater. I would run a heater just to keep my water from freezing. I'd probably keep my heater around 45 or 50.
Wow.
Just to keep the pipes from freezing. But yeah, I don't.
You sound like my husband. He's like that too. Just
how, I mean, well, when I was a kid, like, we played outside a lot, and then like recess, you could play tackle football when I was a kid, and we wouldn't wear coats. We'd wear gloves because your hands would get really cold, but we wouldn't wear a coat because you're running around, And so I just got acclimated to it, and just like it. Prefer the cold. So now I sweat like immediately.
I feel so spoiled. I don't feel very Canadian at all by this winter because it's been so mild. Like, when it got down to -10, it was cold, which is not cold for us. Like, that's mild weather. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but now we're having a little cold snap, and I think it's only going to last like 3 or 4 days, and it's -20.
Yeah, which is -4 Fahrenheit. I looked it up. So
what is -4?
-20 Celsius is -4 Fahrenheit.
That's it? It doesn't sound like anything. But it's cold.
Well, the French people who invented the metric system are kind of like
they exaggerate.
Yeah, they're kind of flamboyant, right? So everything's got to be a big deal. Like, they're kind of prima donnas, right? So, oh my gosh, it's 4 below. Let's make it 20. It's actually 20 below. That's how cold it is if you're French.
But I mean, when we first moved here, we were easily getting down, like -15 was a warm up.
Yeah.
And now,
yeah, it's been extremely mild. We had one small storm early in the season, and then one storm today. That's it.
And last year too.
Crazy. Yeah,
last year we hardly had any snow either.
I want to share something because I just found this, and it's related to our sauna, and it's fun. We forgot to mention Banik, the Slavic bathhouse spirit. In Slavic mythology, specifically East Slavic mythology, every banya is inhabited by the Slavic bathhouse spirit Bannock.
Wow.
He is described as a wizened little man with wild white hair and a long, scraggly beard, long nails, and hairy hands. He lives behind the stove, and his temperament is supposed to be very capricious. Because of the dimmed light in the banya, he was sometimes considered even to be malicious. It was said that by anger, he could throw boiling water or even burn down the banya.
Oh, yeah.
He likes spying on bathers, particularly undressed women. He has the ability to predict the future. One consulted him by standing with one's back exposed in the half-open door of the bath. If the future predicts good, he strokes the back lovingly. By bad prospects, he grabs the back with his claws.
Wow.
So there you go.
There he is. Let's see that picture. Big. It's good. Oh, yeah. Terrifying. He's been in the banya for way too long.
yeah. He sweat off all of his
fried his brain, everything.
Yeah, but he still knows what's important.
Mm-hmm.
He knows, girls are pretty.
He does.
Yeah. So yeah, look, there's ancient Rome has saunas. Finnish.
Yeah,
saunas,
the Finnish
Swedish,
saunas have one too. Wait, what does
Turkish.
it say?
Oh, sorry.
Does
Finnish?
It say anything about the Finnish? The Finnish. They have a little dwarf, I think, or something like that. That sits in the sauna as well.
Yeah. They don't say anything about it here, but
no,
I'm not surprised. Turks have it.
I didn't know Turks had it.
Oh yeah, you've never heard of like Turkish bathhouse?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the Romans built them, so when the Turks took over, this is what Turks do, right? Like they don't invent anything, but they just take it over and say, "I made this."
They invented my dog. There it is. See?
They bred it. Yeah, true. Okay, I'll give you that. But
best.
And I'm just saying this jokingly because my wife's half Turkish, and so, it was really funny. So we just put some tile up in our kitchen, and the stone. We did travertine, and it comes from Turkey. And what's funny is that on the back of every tile, it had a label that had like the barcode, and it said "Made in Turkey," and I'm just like, this is so Turkish. Like every tile, guys. It's not enough to just have it on the box. So we have to remove the sticker from every tile. So then it won't stick, because then the adhesive won't stick to the sticker.
Right.
Made in Turkey. I'm like,
God.
Guys, we get it.
Just in
this is the only thing made in Turkey. You're really proud of it. The Turkish wool is pretty good. And Turkish copper. Like they make these copper pans that are unbelievable.
Oh, there's so many great stuff that they do. And I end up watching shepherding videos from Turkey. They have these, great shepherding videos with lots of shepherding dogs. So like the Alibi and the Akbash and the Anatolian shepherds and Kangal, and they
have I have to share dogs. The Turkish cookware. So it's copper, but then it's got tin on the inside. So it heats up really quickly, even heat. Like these are high-end premier cookware. Like this is what all the French chefs used to use. On there's Turkish coffee pots.
Yeah.
Anyway. There was is it the world championship, or at least the national championship of sheep herding dogs is held in Meeker, Colorado, which is only like 3 hours from here. Let's see if I can find it on YouTube. It's pretty cool what they do.
Those are border collies though, right?
Yeah.
All the Turkish dogs, they're not shepherds. They're livestock guardian, like Congo. I don't know if they have small herding dogs. Maybe they do. I'm only familiar with their livestock guardian because I'm sold on Turkish livestock guardians. I don't want any other. I don't want Pyrenees. None of that. No Maramas, no Spanish dogs. Thank you very much. These guys here, they're just like, they got a switch. It goes auto and off. Auto and off. That's it. And they just know exactly how to behave. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's because it's thousands of years of breeding, Jeremy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a fun video of sheep herding. And this is great because it's from a drone. So this is a view you don't actually usually get to see.
Look at that. Where are the dogs?
Okay. Yeah, they're in the back. You can see them.
Yeah.
Here. And there's some over here. Oh yeah, they've got quite a few.
Oh, they got a lot.
Herding dogs, yeah.
That's a big flock though.
This is a big. Yeah, you can see the dogs kind of moving.
Yeah. Wherever you see the pressure on that flock, that's where the dogs are.
Yeah, this is the highest resolution, unfortunately.
That's amazing, eh?
Yeah, but they're getting them to go, where they want them to go. They've got the dogs. You could see kind of the black dots here. They're holding this line.
Yeah.
Yeah, here comes one running in to keep. Yeah, see the sheep were trying to bolt when that dog saw that and flew over there. It's so fun to do this with,
I've never worked a sheepdog.
Oh man. We didn't have any, but we had neighbors who did. And so I got to be around it.
Yeah, my neighbor here did. He was from the Lakes District in England. And he ran cows. He didn't have sheep. But you can move cows like this with dogs too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah.
That's what they use here. They use border collies and healers.
Yeah.
And
anyway.
Yeah,
kind of
that's
cool stuff.
great. Yeah, and my neighbor, he came over one day and we were trying to do something. I think he was dropping off fence posts or something, and all my goats came over. I had like 9 of them at the time. and goats are like, so hey, hi everyone, what's going on here? And they were like, horns and everything. And he was getting irritated. And I said, Eric, where's your dogs? He goes, oh, they're in the truck. I said, why don't you just get them out and get my goats out of here? Because you can't scare goats away, right? They just they put their heads down.
Yeah, exactly.
When you yell at them,
they're
like, you want to fight?
Yeah, exactly. They're like, let's go. And it hurts to get butted by a goat.
He got his dogs out and he gave them the commands, and his dogs were like fully trained, eh?
Yeah.
And the goats just formed a circle with their butts touching and their heads down. Just a wall. And the dogs could not move them.
Interesting.
Yeah. He goes,
wow, and I'm thinking of the
goats.
I'm thinking of the sheep and the goats in Matthew 25, right?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I had another friend, a Swiss guy. He had border collies, and he only raised goats. But those dogs would have to rip into the goats to make them move. They couldn't just show up and move them by being near them.
Presence, right? Yeah.
They had to go in and nip them, and they used to grab their udders, the dogs, because that's where they were the most. The skin was sensitive, the softest,
right? Yeah, right.
Because they're so tough skinned, right?
Yeah.
And they couldn't really get down there to butt the dog before or kick it. I got kicked in the eye once when I was I had my goat on the milk stand, and she had given birth the night before, and I had to clean her udder because it was all covered.
Yeah.
And I mean, these dairy goats, their udders are big and engorged the next day.
Right.
Anyway, so it was when I first started working with goats. And so I stick my head right there and I put this cloth on there, and right away, wham, she kicks. Ooh. And she got me right on the eyebrow.
Oh.
And then I had this huge black eye. And it was when we were living in Telegraph Creek, and I went into town one day to the gas station / store, and Lyle worked in there. He always had his glasses like right here, right there,
right on the edge of his nose. Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh yeah," because that's obviously your husband doing that, right? And I said, I got kicked my goat kicked me. He goes, your goat kicked.
Yeah.
And then my husband said to me, you're going to have to, because he got comments from some of the guys in town.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Sure, you got to wear sunglasses next time because it wouldn't go away. It was so bad. It was huge."
That reminds me, like in there was a British ritual where if there was a guy who was beating on his wife, eventually they would all show up, like the whole village would show up at their house and just bang pots and pans.
Yeah.
Until the guy would leave.
It was like,
you know, because it was like, we know
mm-hmm.
It's time for you to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then someone would take her in.
Nice.
Chase him
Where
off.
was this?
Yeah.
England?
In England, yeah. Yeah.
We need more of that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Well, people don't even know their names of their neighbors anymore, so
yeah.
It's a different world.
Yeah. It is.
Have you seen
it's a very different world, Jeremy.
Yeah.
What can I say?
The Quiet Man. Have you seen the movie called The Quiet Man?
Mm-mm.
Oh man. Okay. It's a John Wayne movie, but it's not a Western. It's not a Western.
Wow.
Is it on? Oh, you can rent it on YouTube, but I'll show you the trailer.
I think it's criminal that they make you rent these old movies.
I know, it's really stupid.
It's just criminal.
It is, yeah. No, I agree totally. Hold on, let me see. Quiet. The director is John Ford, which is one of my favorite directors. It's phenomenal. And this film, let me share it. It's just so beautiful. It's shot in Ireland.
John Wayne in Ireland?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I must watch this.
Oh, you would love it. It's very funny.
Oh, shoot. I don't think I've ever even heard of this film.
Oh, so good.
I'd like to tell you about The Quiet Man. He's John Wayne in a picture you'll soon be cheering. It's the story of Sean Thornton, a right-intended man who came from America to forget his past in Innisfree. There he met a fiery red-headed lass, and the village marriage broker went to work.
It's always the fiery red
bonnet you have on.
Bonnet?
She's hilarious.
Don't you be talking to me about bonnets after leaving mine stuck up there like a...
Easy now. Have the good manners not to hit the man until he's your husband and entitled to hit you back.
Then her bully of a brother, Red Will Danaher, refused to pay her rightful dowry.
There'll be no locks or bolts between us, Mary Kate, except those in your own mercenary little heart.
Kate left him to go to Dublin, but he caught her at the station and brought her back with the whole town watching him do it.
I'll pay you. Never.
Then the fight was on, a fight they're still talking about in Innisfree. It's a wonderful picture, the finest ever brought to the screen by John Ford, and he's won 3 Academy Awards. His direction makes unforgettable the performances of John Wayne, Maureen O'Hara, Barry Fitzgerald, and Victor McLaughlin.
Oh, I'm gonna
Phenomenal
look
movie. You have to see this film.
I
You
am
would love this
definitely going to
film.
watch that.
It is so good. It's so good. It's so funny. It was a lot more enjoyable for me by turning on the subtitles, because some of the accents are pretty thick and it's hard to catch what they were saying, because the audio is not super great. But man, such a good, it's just beautiful scenes. Like John Ford was a master director. Like he directed Man Who Shot at Liberty Vance. He directed The Searchers. I mean, just phenomenal director from the studio era of Hollywood, and
Nice.
and just a true artist.
And it's nice to see John Wayne in a suit.
yeah, he plays a retired boxer. Like his parents were from Ireland, and he goes to America. He's a boxer, and then he retires and he moves back to Ireland and he wants to buy his parents' place and live there. And then he meets Madeline O'Hare, who's phenomenal actress and hilarious. It's really, this is such a funny movie. It's really, really nice.
You know, the whole stereotype of the blonde, the brunette, and the fiery redhead
Yeah.
really dominated in Hollywood for a long time. And the fiery redhead was always the one that the guys were falling for, really.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? The fiery
Yeah,
redhead?
the spicy one. Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, hold on. I was just looking at pictures from the film, and I think I can make a case for why guys might be falling for fiery redheads. I mean, she's beautiful. Look at this. Maureen O'Hare. No, I said Madeline O'Hare. Forgive me. It's Maureen O'Hare.
Yeah.
Beautiful woman. And redhead is actually like the rarest gene like combination. Right? Like it's the smallest group.
They have a lot of different qualities. Like people with red hair have more hair on their head. They also go white and not gray. And then they bleed more intensely. So I was never a redhead. I was what they called strawberry blonde, but my brother was a redhead. My sister Tracy was a redhead. That's why she's white early. And my brother Matthew is a blonde because he really got the Finn genes, you know?
Yeah.
The blonde. And but whenever I would go in to have a baby, they would be all like, a bleeder. If there's just a slight bit of red in your hair,
yeah,
you know, they're all on high alert. I'm like, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
All the inside information.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's been interesting. So my stepdaughter she's a NICU nurse by trade, right? And now she has a baby. And it's funny because one, she's just saying like, because she's a mother, she's like, I have so much more context. So now it's not just like, oh, this number or this isn't right or looks bad, so I should take him to the doctor. Because she's like, but he's doing this and he's doing this and this is okay and this is okay, so I don't need to worry. She's like, but as a nurse, I would recommend him to be examined. But as a mother, it's like, no, he's fine because I'm with him all the time and all these other things are fine, right? And but the other interesting thing about that is that she's like sharing very detailed just very detailed accounts of all of the medical things going on with her and her baby,
right?
It's just the first weeks of birth here, and I was hearing all kinds of things that I've never heard before, and I'm a father, right? And
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go in the other room now. You guys talk. Girls, you talk. The boys are gonna go.
Oh,
we're going out in the backyard. We're gonna go build a fire.
There is, that's right, and it should
because
be
she's
like
just
that.
medical, so for her it's like
normal talk.
She's desensitized to it, right? And I'm just like.
But on the other hand, though, women that have just given birth, huge debrief with other women.
Yes.
After the birth. And it's like a minute by minute account of their experience of it. So it's like you wouldn't know they're having these thoughts or noticing these things.
Right.
But then when it's all over and they tell the story, they're because it's like a heightened awareness. So it's almost like being in a flow state.
Yeah.
Of like super heightened awareness, right? You got a lot of oxytocin going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, both of them. This is really beautiful. So both my stepdaughter and her husband are just like talking about how their new hobby is just like holding the baby, and like my son-in-law is just like, I can hold him and just stare into his eyes for 2 hours and not know that 2 hours went by.
Right.
He's like, it's unbelievable, So we're very blessed with good sons-in-law.
That's
who
wonderful.
take care of our girls and take care of
Yeah.
our new
My niece who just had her 5th, she she was like, the nurse comes in and says, "So I just want to let you know that and giving her all the technical, possibility. Everything is a big if, but what
Right.
if? And you need to take this shot because,
Yeah.
And she said, I just wanted to look at her and say, could you just cough?
Yeah.
This is my 5th kid. Leave me alone.
Yeah. That's what my wife said to her doctor. She was just like, I'm not getting on your scale. You can check your other stuff, but I'm not doing it. Like, leave me alone. I'm fine. And he was like, okay. And same like during the birth, he was just like,
yeah,
okay, whatever. Like,
Kalina's
honestly, it was like just her and I alone most of the time she was in labor. Like,
she was telling me, she's like, I'm gonna go walk up and down the stairwell, and the doctor's like, what stairwell? Because she was like ready to go,
Yeah.
But it's so interesting when you talk to women that have just given birth, and this is where I see women needing women.
Yes. Yeah.
For birth, for one thing, like midwives and elders, and then for all the debriefing that happens afterwards, because it's both beautiful and traumatic. Yes. Right? Like, so, yeah. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have a good birth, an easy birth, like my niece just had and I had, all mine were.
Hers was too. Hers was very
great,
quick.
But I know people who've had very horrible experiences, right?
Yeah.
And like, we're just never ending pain. And all that has to be processed, but it has to be processed with women. Men are like,
we're going to go now.
Well, I think for men, especially if they're husbands, they just feel guilty.
Yes. Well,
no,
I wouldn't say guilt. It's more like
I mean,
holy, and it needs to stay veiled.
Okay, but let me tell you this story though, because my son-in-law, my youngest daughter, when she had her baby, it didn't go well, and it was like many, many hours of intense, painful labor, and then an emergency C-section. And afterwards, he was like, "We're adopting. After them, we're just adopting. We're not." Like, he just didn't want to put her through that ever again. I think he felt horribly guilty.
I understand that. I can relate to that. I mean, I think I will say we had 2 miscarriages before my daughter.
Oh.
And my wife said, she got pregnant again, and she's like, "Look, this is it. Good or bad, this is it. But I can't go through this again. Even if this works out, I can't do it again. It's too much." And so we just had the one daughter, which I'm grateful for. I love her very much. But and we were blessed for that third one to be. So I understand that sentiment, and I do think that is part of it. But for me, it's also like, there's a reason why men were not involved in that ritual for most of human history.
Yeah.
And it's only been very recent that fathers are in there. I mean, and this is like 30 years recent, 40 years recent. Because like my father was not in the room when I was born. Right.
No.
My father was not, like, he was in the lobby with my grandpa and my uncles, and they're out there drinking scotch in the parking lot. Right. and so I think that's more natural, because it is a very holy experience. And the reason, Father Stephen DeYoung talked about this, like in the Old Testament, blood and life are the same thing, right? Blood and life. And so when a child is born, they're unclean, but it's not because they've been soiled. It's because they're too holy. because of the abundance of blood and the abundance
Mm.
of life, they are too holy to be in the camp. They're too holy to be in the temple, because it's like, I mean, the temple's holy, but they're too holy because it disrupts the community.
Mhm. Oh,
It
yeah,
just,
I mean,
you
I
know,
just
and we
yeah,
still have that. Women in the Orthodox Church don't go to church for 40 days
yeah, I
after the
know,
baby's
it's,
born, right? And then
in
they bring the
in,
baby and the baby's churched. And
right.
that's the reason. It's too holy. And I think there's wisdom in, I totally hear what you're saying, and I agree. Like her sisters are talking with her and my wife, and they're listening and talking and sharing stories, and my oldest stepdaughter's just enthralled because she really wants to have a baby and can't
Mhm.
right now. They're trying, but they just, she hasn't been able to get pregnant yet, and so she's just like holding on to every detail.
Yeah.
And I think it's very good for both of them, but I don't think that the men in her life should be in the room when this is happening. I just don't. I don't think it's good. I didn't make a big deal out of it, but I was, I kind of like found a way to kind of separate the groups. Like, hey, let's go,
Yeah, yeah.
come outside. Let me show you the thing I got. Let me show you a new knife I have for wood carving. So let's go out. I got some scotch out in the shed. Let's go get some drink.
Right, right.
So,
No. I remember reading a really hilarious article from, it was a Lamaze book, or it was maybe I can't remember, somebody sent it to me, and I've looked for it ever since, but I can never find it. And it's about this guy describing his wife having a baby, and he's out in the lobby waiting,
mhm.
right? I think this was an article actually in a Mother Earth News magazine
Mm.
from many, many years ago, right? Before
Mhm.
the fathers were in the room.
Yes.
And he said, he's in the lobby with all these men, and their wives are all in there. And he said, we're not talking to each other, and we're, lifting heavy objects and spitting.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Pacing, walking. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was glad my husband was there.
I was glad to be there.
Yeah. I mean, he was a little annoying at times, but he was all I had. I didn't have anybody else. It was in Switzerland, so.
Yeah. Well, luckily I had a nurse. We had a nurse who was very experienced, and she came to me, and she, my wife had been in labor for a few hours at this point, and she came to me and she said, "Look, she's in a cave right now, and she needs to focus on what she's doing, and you can only ask her yes or no questions, and only one or two of
Mhm.
them and then you need to give her some time. Like, you just need to handle everything. So if people are coming in here and trying to ask her questions and you're the one who answers, you're the one who takes care of it, and
Right.
you just do your best to provide a space for her, but
Right.
don't try to have her, you can't bother her with a bunch of questions." And I was like, okay, got it. And
Mhm.
she was dead right. Like, it got to the point where my wife really even couldn't answer
No.
yes or no questions. She couldn't really, she had no context for what I was saying. We were in different worlds, even though we were in the same room.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. It's as if you were lifting a car off of a friend.
Yeah, someone's like,
trying to
"Hey,
have
do
a
you want
conversation."
some macaroni and cheese, or you want a waffle?" That's a perfect analogy. That's a perfect analogy. Like, I'm a little, I've got other things on my mind right now. Yeah, that's funny.
That
Yeah,
kind of
no,
brings it home for you, right?
yeah, and that's, it was very much like that, where she's just, because she did have natural childbirth, and so
Mhm.
it was yeah.
How did we get on this topic? Here we are having a conversation about children being born. Well, we did start this with your idea that was crowning.
That's funny. Well, and I was thinking of also where you didn't mention that childbirth is holy and it's terror at the same time. It's
Yeah.
and that is also the antinomy we were talking about at the beginning too, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. They're everywhere.
And it is that's so.
Well, I mean, birth is death and death is life, and like it's just it's antinomies all the way down.
Well, and that's what an encounter with holiness is too, right? It is awe and terror at the same time. You see that in the Old Testament, or I mean in the New Testament, all over the place. Whenever an angel, when angel Gabriel appears to Mary, when she falls down on her face afraid, right? When the apostles were on the Mount of Transfiguration, they fell down terrified, right?
Well, I read you that excerpt from Florensky where he says there's cracks in everything, right?
Yeah.
And you can't paste over it. You can't try to resolve it because then you're going to say, you're going to make that what we talked about the last time, epoche, that suspension of judgment, as skepticism. You're going to have to you're going to do the Occam's razor. Well, that can't be because this is this, right?
Yes.
And I was using in a conversation today with a couple people in the Discord, I was saying how, it's like Moses keeps standing in front of the burning bush. And if his rationality rules, he ends up saying, that cannot be.
Well, the story of St. Leo too, today in the fire.
Right.
You have two men standing in a fire. What does your rational mind say is going to happen?
They're going to, be consumed by it. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
They are both consumed by it.
Mm-hmm. And but here's the thing.
But in a very different way, right?
Right. And so what this brings about, if you decide to make a judgment and say that cannot be, because that's what that is you enter into Gehenna, where the worm never dies and the thirst is never sated, because because you're looking at it, okay? You're looking at the burning bush, that there's a truth in it. But when you say that cannot be, then you have not satisfied the thirst for the truth that you see in there. So you have to, you are in Gehenna. It's just.
Yeah. I remembered the story that I wanted to share with you.
There we go. See, it came back around.
It did come around from the beginning.
After the talk of childbirth. See, I told you it was crowning.
Yes, it worked. Now I have to see if I can actually find the quote. It's from Saint Sophrony. Shoot, hold on. Sorry. I did remember it, but now I just have to find the quote.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just look for it.
Because it's like,
Not finding it.
It's close. Like,
you're getting there. You're getting there.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because like the quote is in the search text, but I can't find the actual. When I click on it, it's not there. The quote is not there. But he's, let's see, hold on. Let me look back in here and see. That's not it. Here we go. I found it.
Good.
Glory to God.
I was looking for a poem to read, but then you got it.
I found it. Here we go. Saint Sophrony. I remember once I was attending Vespers in the Pokrovsky Cathedral. A confessor, Father N, was reading the Akathist. Looking at him, I thought, what a fat monk. He could not prostrate himself in worship. Or in other words, that can't be.
Mm-hmm.
At that instant, just as I was about to bow low myself, an unseen something hit me a blow in the back. I wanted to call out, hold me up, but couldn't because the pain was so bad. Thus did the Lord mercifully punish me and so teach me never to pass judgment on anyone.
Well, okay, so when I was reading that section about contradiction and epoche in the second, that's in the chapter on doubt, the second chapter. I was reminded of the story of Motovilov, or how would you say that in Russian? Motovilov, probably. Where, and I think I read this to you already once, about the guy, the monk who, where is it now? Here. The monk who was possessed by a demon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I won't read the whole story, but I'm just going to read you what he says. And it's some, going through the book for the second time in this course that I'm taking, I'm like, oh, that's what that story's about. Okay. Motovilov writes, I began to wonder, because he's reading a story, or he's rewriting a story of a woman who was healed of a possessed, of a demon possession, okay, at the shrine of Saint Mitrophanios. And then he goes, I began to wonder, how was it possible that an Orthodox Christian woman who has taken Holy Communion, that is, who has participated in the most pure and life-giving sacraments of the Lord, could suddenly become possessed by a demon, and for more than 30 years. And I thought, nonsense. That could not be. Right? And then he said, I would like to see a demon dare to possess me, who often take Holy Communion. At that moment, a cold, frightening, foul-smelling cloud surrounded him and began to enter his convulsively clenched lips. But then he goes down here, he says this, the Lord found me worthy of experiencing really, and not in dreams or through ghostly apparitions, 3 Gehennic torments. Okay, so what does Florensky call Gehenna? That. When you say that cannot be.
That's the same thing Saint Sophrony experienced, right? Instant pain.
Because you've canceled out the opposite. You no longer have antinomy.
Right.
Okay? You're only on one side of the rational argument. And that's and the other thing that he talks about in this book is how heresy is when people resort to rationality. Okay? So and then I thought about this, he talks about it in detail. I'm not talking about it in detail like he does, but I thought, oh, that's interesting, because all you have in the creed is antinomy.
Mm-hmm.
You have the divine nature, which is an antinomy. You have the virgin birth, which is an antinomy, right?
Yep.
And it's not that you have to believe in antinomy. It's that you can't be rational.
Right.
That's what it's telling you. It's saying this is not rational. Okay? Because if it was, then it would only be on one side. And so all the heresy, I think it wasn't a question of whether or not what they were saying was true, which of course enters into the discussion at some point, but it was identified because it all moved towards rationality.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And the move had to be away and into supra-rational thought. Okay?
Yes.
This is, and that's what the antinomy provokes in a human being.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
the church fathers say that the contradictions in the scriptures are intentionally placed,
Yeah.
as a trap for your rational mind,
Right.
and
It's,
as a tripping stone, as a
stumbling stone.
stumbling rock, a stumbling stone for the rational, for the prideful, right? And but they said the same contradiction that can be a stumbling block for the rational mind can also, they said it's also the same as walking on a sandy beach and tripping over something and then seeing that it's the corner of a chest,
Right.
and that if you put the time and effort of digging it out, you can find a great treasure within. Right? That contradiction is that same, it's that same opportunity. It's either it's going to trap you or it's going to free you, depending on your approach to it.
That's
and
right.
your openness to it.
That's right. And that's why this monk could say, God found me worthy, okay, of having this experience. And the killer thing about it is that he had to go for 30 years until he was freed of it. Right?
Yeah.
And then he has another thing that he says here at the end. He says this, after all his torments, I won't read them all, but he says, I make all this known because I must, for it was for a purpose that this vision was given to me from above by the Lord. And let no one think that I dare to invoke the name of the Lord in vain. No. On the day of the last judgment, God himself, my help and protector, will bear witness that I did not lie about him, the Lord, and about his act of divine providence performed in me by him.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Motovilov had after this horrible trial, inaccessible to an ordinary person, Motovilov had a vision of his protector, Saint Seraphim. Saint Seraphim comforted the tormented one with the promise that he would be healed when the relic of Saint Tikhon of Zaronsk was opened, and that until that time came, the demon possessing him would no longer torment him so cruelly. That event occurred only after more than 30 years, and Motovilov lived to see that day. He lived, this last line, he lived to be healed because of his great faith. And then it dawned on me, because Florensky also tells the story of Saint Seraphim in the woods with his disciple. It was the same guy.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, this is one of the things I've noticed about this book, Jeremy, reading it the second time. This is not random stories placed hither, thither. You know, as strategic as the liturgy itself is, and the liturgical calendar,
Right.
so is this book.
Yeah.
And it does that same, it works that same kind of work on you, where it was like when I was reading that chapter on doubt and epoche and Gehenna, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's that story of that monk who suspended judgment as a skeptic. Okay. And said that can't be. Yeah. It's really.
And then was redeemed by that.
Yeah, counted himself worthy.
Yeah, this goes back to what Father Turbo was talking about, where you don't need to become a different person.
No.
God will take who you are and point it in the right direction if you let him, if you ask him to.
Yeah.
And you don't have to change into a different person. You just have to, and so like that, it's like his pride and his, rational mind needed to be chastened.
Yeah.
For 30 years.
Yeah.
But then he saw the uncreated light.
I actually think that story is what Florensky used to determine this idea of epoche as a skeptic or epoche as ataraxy, which is what the ascetics practice when they don't judge, which is what Saint Sophrony was talking about. No judgment.
Right.
None.
Yeah.
And this is why, and I've said it badly, I've said it poorly, but it's actually the reason why I've said it is that, that one of the things that I thought about, and this is how I approached it because I'm just stupid, was that the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the garden, the people were promised the ability to judge, essentially. Yes. You'll know the difference between good and evil, right?
Yes. Right.
And I thought, oh, isn't that interesting? Because people actually do think that they can make that distinction, but guess what? They can't. So the deception is not in that they took from the tree. It's part of it. That was how they got there, but they're still under the deception that they are like God and they can judge. Jeremy.
Yeah, right.
That's how I got to that conclusion. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the error of that monk who ended up demon possessed. He judged, right? And I'm not saying I'm any good at it either. Like, not.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I have to keep coming back to whenever people, and it's so insidious and it's so subtle, like a snake. Actually, like a snake. Have you ever seen a snake move in the grass? Like,
it's hard to keep track of them.
Yeah. And
if they're moving quick,
there,
you're just like, where'd they go?
Suddenly they're there and suddenly they're gone, right?
Yeah.
But it's like people will say things like, Jordan Peterson has changed. All my red flags come up. And I want to say something like, how do you know?
Right.
Right?
You're seeing a guy on stage.
But how do you know anything like that?
Right.
Because let's use Father Turbo's story of Zacchaeus. Did Zacchaeus change? No. He changed direction.
He was transformed, but he didn't change.
But he didn't change.
Right.
So therefore, and this was just my intuition, because I tried to change myself, and I've watched other people trying to change themselves. And I came to the conclusion a long time ago, that is not possible.
Right.
Even the bread and the wine are not changed.
Right.
Okay. So It's orientation that changes. That's what changes, right? This is why we make the sign of the cross.
Yeah.
That's all about orientation, right? And so to say that somebody has changed, that you cannot judge. Because you know what? You did not form them in the womb. You did not see them at the breast. You did not raise them and teach them how to walk. You know nothing about that person.
Right.
Nothing. I mean, you might be able to make a judgment on someone who suffers a brain injury. Okay. But I mean, that's a physical situation.
Yeah. Well, and
okay?
Jordan Peterson went through a coma, so that is going to have an effect.
Yeah, but Jordan Peterson did not change.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I am saying though that he if he did change, you can say that there is, that's probably going to be a transformational experience. But it did change his personality. It didn't change who he is. It didn't change Jordan Peterson, right? It may have refined him. It may have changed his focus. Clearly he's not doing the same things he was before the coma, right?
Right.
So,
and I mean, if you think that he's walking into something evil, how do you know that? How do you know that thing is evil? Right? How do you know Daily Wire is evil? Like, why are you judging Daily Wire? You know what I mean? Like, it's all around us all the time, Jeremy. Like,
yeah.
And I believe from what we've read in the lives of the saints, and I also believe from what I've read from some of the saints, like Saint Ephraim, the Syrian, and other stories, the one thing, and I've said this so many times, the one thing they never do is judge.
Yeah.
They leave that person to God not because they don't want the responsibility, okay? It's because God is the judge.
Right.
So, yeah. But then we just heard a story of a man who did get judged, a sorcerer, right?
Yes.
But
two men who were transformed by the fire, but in
right. But here's the thing. I
Mm-hmm.
think, and this is something I was thinking about, I think that this is Saint Leo, right?
Yeah.
I think that he was willing to die for that judgment, and that's
Yes.
why he stood in the fire.
Yes.
Because that's a big deal. And God,
yeah, because he was shepherding his flock right there. He was like your Turkish
Congo
dog, right? He was protecting his flock from something that was disrupting them, and was an eternal. It was an infernal threat.
Right. So he didn't just.
He was going to take care of it. He wasn't expecting to not be burned.
Right.
He was saying, we're going to die together because you're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah. I'm going to lay down my life. And God, and God honored him by preserving him in that. So essentially he was, I was listening to a priest recently. I think you would know who he is. He was being interviewed, and he was just talking about his own imperfections. And he said this guy came into his church, or no, it was after the service, and everybody was outside mingling and talking. And this homeless guy that had been around many times came by, and he was very foul-mouthed, and he was directing his vitriol at children, and it was just so inappropriate, right? And the priest said he felt this overwhelming anger rise up in him. And he was marching over there to grab the guy, and he didn't know what. He was just fuming mad, right? And suddenly everything changed. And he basically walked up to the guy and said, "How can I help you? How can I help you?" And he meant it.
Yeah.
And then the whole conversation took a very interesting turn, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is a thing. Like, and like I said, I'm guilty probably 50 times a day for judging. But it's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll
And I
share.
mean, here's the thing. I think it's what hinders anyone from humility, from achieving actual true humility,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yes.
When you're judging others.
Correct. Yeah. That's the opposite of humility.
Right.
Yeah. I'll share another quote from Saint Sophrony that's related.
Okay.
I remember one such happening which occurred in France in the early 20s, before my departure to Mount Athos in 1925. I wept and prayed to God, find a way to save the world, to save all of us. We are all defiled and cruel. I would pray with particular fervor for the little ones, the poor and the oppressed. Towards morning, with my strength waning, my prayer would be disturbed by the thought that if I grieve for mankind with all my heart, how is it that God can look on indifferently at the pain and torment of millions of beings whom he himself had created? Why does he allow the innumerable instances of brute force in the world? And I would turn to him with the insane challenge, where art thou? And in my heart, I heard, was it you who was crucified for them? The gentle words uttered by the Spirit shook me to the core. He who was crucified had answered me as God.
Amazing.
It's related because judging is not always just judging other people. This is,
Well, it makes you God, and that's my whole point about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because what the serpent says is you will be like God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Father Paul he gave a little video recently, and he was talking about the 3 prayers that are essential as a Christian, for a Christian. And he said, the first one is, Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me.
Right.
And the second one is, may it be blessed. And the third one is, not my will, but thy will be done.
Right.
Which is basically, may it be blessed. And so it's really 2 prayers, but it's that idea of also not complaining about what happens, what's around you, what's going on. It's not thinking it should be some other way. It doesn't mean that you're passive. It just means you're not acting out of anger or out of some sense of judgment of like, wow, it shouldn't be like this.
Right.
It's more like thinking of potentials or and prayer, but and that's very different than something's got to change. This can't stand, or I can't stand this, or whatever. It's just,
how you say something's got to give?
Yeah.
Well, that's literally what's required of you in those situations.
Yeah.
You have to give.
Which is a great song, by the way.
Yeah. You have to give. You have to give up. You have to surrender. You have to give of yourself. You have to give yourself away. You have to give, right?
Yeah.
That's almsgiving. That's what it is.
Yes. And you have to.
But most of the time, I mean, if I'm honest with myself about my own life, when it would be something's got to give, it's like you have to go.
Yeah.
Because I can't handle the pressure.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Instead of me actually coming out of myself, right? And pouring myself out.
Well, yeah. And exactly. And sitting with that discomfort, right? This is what I'm just learning how to do. I've been avoiding discomfort my whole life.
All of us.
Jeremy. Yeah. Self-love, right? I mean, it's what we're all plagued with.
We're all doing.
And yeah, I'm not saying I'm special in that. I'm just saying I have been.
No, yeah.
And yeah, and I'm saying like learning to, you still are going to be upset. You're still going to be, things are still going to make you angry, or you're still going to feel those things. But it's like, that doesn't mean you have to act on it. It doesn't mean you need to do something. And that was my delusion my whole life. It's like, I feel this, so I need to whatever, right? It's like, oh, I feel this, therefore
Mm-hmm.
I'm justified in whatever, right?
Right.
And that's what I've been practicing lately, or trying to practice, is the idea of like,
Waiting.
this is uncomfortable, this isn't fun, I don't like this, but I'm not moving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to sit here in it.
And here's the thing: when that happens, when you're doing that, you are mastering something, right? Like, because we're so bent on feelings, and feelings as deep as they can be also be very superficial. So
Yes.
we can get a little dopamine hit, and then we want the next one. And that usually happens when we're successful with something. And so we don't want to fail, because that doesn't feel good, right?
No.
And I'm thinking about myself. So when I learned how to spin, I made the appropriate mistakes, which I allowed myself, because it was a learning curve. And then I got really good at it. And right then I wanted to take up something else, because I didn't want to veer off from being able to do it. And I knew if I practiced it harder and longer, I would fail. I would think I was good at something, and then I would fail, and I would feel bad about myself. And so I was going to literally, after like 2 or 3 years of spinning, and I hadn't, quote unquote, figured it all out, I was just going to go find something else to do, which really was a pattern in my life, right? And God said to me, no, now you're going to master it. Which meant I had to sit down, and I had to understand what was happening while I was spinning. And as soon as I entered into that, I made mistakes, because I thought I knew what was happening, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's fully applicable to your life, right? Where you think, oh yeah, I got this. I'm married. Yeah, I know what marriage is. Yeah, had kids. Yep, know what it's like. Yeah, I know all that. I know it. When God asks you to master something, he's asking you to become a master, which means you have to fail. You have to be uncomfortable with probably the rest of your days, right? I mean, seriously, you're going to end up like that monk that you described, where he said, I fear I have not even begun to repent.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And you're going to have to suspend all your judgment as ataraxy, as a patient waiting on the Lord. But it's better than Gehenna, where the worm never dies and the thirst is never sated. And right?
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time there. And yeah, it's awful. It's the dread of chasing the horizon, It's the wanderer who is never comfortable where he is and always wants to be over there. That's how I felt most of my life. I just, whatever I was doing and wherever I was, I always just wanted to be over there. And just restless, listless and frenetic. And it's a terrible way to live. And then if I was there and was forced to be in a place, then I would do everything I could to dull my senses and to numb myself into not feeling, And now really it's not me. It's not my own strength that I'm able to sit in these times now and sit in these places where I'm uncomfortable. It's only because I've begun to learn how to pray, where you can begin to say, this is very difficult and I feel crushed, Lord, but where else would I go? Like what? Like Peter, like what? Where he talks about the body and blood of needing to eat the body and blood, his body and blood,
Right.
and most of the disciples leave, and then he asks, most of the people who had been following him leave, and then he asks the disciples, "Are you gonna go too?" And Peter says, "Lord, where would we go?" Right, and it is being crushed, but at the same time, staying there and not running and not seeking your own comfort and not seeking to comfort yourself, right? Like that's the delusion, is that, I can make myself feel better. That's just not true at all.
No.
You're dulling yourself. You're dulling.
Well, you can't make yourself feel better by judging other people.
No.
Which is like really psychologically why we do it. It's to make ourselves feel better.
Yes. Lewis talks about that. Pride comes in the comparison. That's what pride is. Pride is comparing yourself to someone else, and either favorably or unfavorably.
Whenever I get right, and whenever I talk about this, I get the thing. Yeah, but you have to know if someone's evil or someone's good, or you have to know if, And I'm at the point now where I'm like, well, do I? Right. Because I'm actually supposed to just see the image of God in them, and I'm supposed to love them.
Yes, and focus on my own sins.
Right. And I mean, martyrdom happens because people look that stuff right in the eye.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what my future holds. Like I don't. Right. I've looked, I don't know if I told you that story, but I mean, I looked someone very evil in the eye and asked him not to do something that he was about to do once. And he didn't. But here's the thing. I remember this moment. I was 17. And I remember I didn't look at him in judgment. I looked at him because I didn't want him to do this to himself. It was that kind of thing that would have haunted him. Right? And it was an intense moment. It was a really intense moment, okay? And I remember loving him, even though he was a stranger to me, actually. I remember looking him in the eyes, and it was out of love for him that I asked him not to do it. And I remember saying to him, "You're better than this." Because I could see the image of God in him.
Yeah.
Because I knew
possessed by a spirit at the time.
I knew that I don't know why, Jeremy, because
I don't mean that like literally like a demon possessing, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like something takes you over and
totally.
You're not in control.
One of the gods, right?
Yes,
That's
right.
what those
exactly.
are.
That's what I mean.
But yeah, that moment. So it's stuck in my mind because it didn't feel like me saying these things to him.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know any of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a stranger. And a violent one.
Yeah.
But it worked. He actually didn't do the thing that was going to happen. So, yeah. Sometimes you got to lean in. Lean into the sword like Saint Perpetua.
Yeah.
Right? Lean into it. I don't know. But I do think that there's a difference between spiritual discernment and judgment.
Yes.
And I think that those, those moments like the one I just described was one of those where I could have run away. But I laid down my life for a friend, actually. That's what I was doing.
It's the same as Saint Leo, right? It's the
Yeah.
we're gonna die together.
Yes.
But
Yeah, and
this is
maybe
gonna
even out of
stop.
love for that guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's
You know?
right, because he's heaping further judgment on himself. Right, he had already rejected Christ, and it just was getting worse and worse. And he kept trying to call him to repentance, and he wouldn't repent. And he's like, "Okay, that's it. We're not gonna." And
He's gonna be purified by fire.
right. Yeah, it's a similar thing where it's a surrender to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a surrender to God's will, right? I mean, it's the same thing that was in the Saint Philothea, right? Where it's like,
right,
she was 12, and she was being beaten, and she prayed, and that he would be brought to his senses,
mm-hmm.
and he died. Right? That's the same thing that happened with Saint Leo. He prayed that man would come to his senses, and he kept asking him and kept inviting him to repent,
Mm-hmm.
and the man wouldn't, and so he died.
Yeah. Well, when the world is antinomy, but at its foundation, right?
Yeah.
There's no way you can judge, because like Florensky says, everything is yes and no. And honestly, the more I have conversations like this, whenever I go to say something, I'm like, if I try to say something that's kind of like, I'm sure of myself or whatever, and I'm going to, I don't want to say pass judgment, because it's not on a person, but maybe pass judgment on a idea or a situation. The opposite argument just goes flying into my head, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Somebody could take what I'm saying right now and make this true. This other thing that is important to me. And it's all like, the more I talk about certain things, the more that happens to me, Jeremy.
Mm.
And the less I talk about those things, because I can't, in all honesty and personal integrity, I can't say the thing anymore, because the other thing's also true.
Right. Father Paul just recently said, he's like, I have learned the hard way that I know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
No.
And I think that's kind of what you're talking about, where you get to the point where it's just like, you like these things that you thought were a hard line or very clear or very obvious, as you begin to really observe it and then have a relationship with it, all of a sudden, all of these hidden characteristics, almost to an infinite depth,
it's endless,
become revealed to you, and then all of a sudden you can't
say anything.
You can't say anything. I mean, it is really the answer. I've seen, I grew up around Christian apologetics and was involved with it for a long, part of my life, and it was always these dialectics, is always these arguments that are dialectics, right? All like Western theology is like, since Kant has been plagued with arguing over dialectics, right? And are you saved by faith or grace, or like those, or by grace or works, right? Faith or works, right? All those kind of things, and it was just tiring, and then you come to Orthodoxy, and they go, both. You're saved by both, and right, both and becomes the answer to everything,
right?
Like this or that. The Orthodox answer is always both and.
Yeah.
Right. In Zen, there's this concept. It's kind of in the Japanese language. There was a word for something. It was called mu was the word. And what it meant was your question includes a presupposition that I don't agree to, right? So it's like someone says, do you beat your wife anymore? There's no good way to answer that, right?
Mhm.
If I say no, that implies that I once did. If I say yes, it means that I still beat my wife, right?
Mhm.
There's no way to answer that without accepting the presupposition.
Mhm.
This is Western theology. This is Christian apologetics.
Well, I said, when we were talking about this in the class, I said, if antinomy wasn't everywhere, okay, meaning yes and no are all there, it's always yes and no, right? There would be no debate.
Right,
There would never be debate,
right,
okay?
right. Because debate is grabbing one of those horns of the bull.
Right, and
It's this horn or this horn.
Right, and so this is what I read you before we started, where he says, let contradiction, he says here, we dare not cover contradiction over with the paste of our philosophemes. Let contradiction remain as profound as it is. If the knowable world is cracked, and if in practice we cannot repair its cracks, neither must we hide them. If the knowing reason is fragmented, if it is not a monolithic slab, if it is self-contradictory, again, we must not pretend that this is not the case. He actually says the book of Job wholly consists of such a concentrated experience of contradiction. This book is wholly constructed on the idea of antinomicalness. Here, God reminds us that man is not the measure of creation, or that, and these are quotes, the universe is designed according to a plan which infinitely surpasses human reason. And so, further down, lay your hand upon your mouth. This is a gesture of silence and mystery, the same gesture with which John, the seer of mysteries, is often painted on icons. And I don't remember where that thing is that I wanted to read, but contradiction. It is always a mystery of the soul, a mystery of prayer and love. The closer one is to God, the more distinct are the contradictions.
There's an icon of St. John holding his hand to his mouth.
Right. Yeah. Just have to be quiet.
There's another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that's okay. So that's the meaning of mystery. Mysterion is literally this gesture. Shh.
Right. And it's because it's and like he says, it's not because it's a secret or that it's a secret word or secret handshake or secret password. It's because it's utterly inexpressible with words. And that's what a paradox is. Okay? A paradox, you can't rationally explain it. And I always like to think of just use the example of Moses and the burning bush, because the burning bush is a paradox. It is a wood that is on fire but is not consumed. Okay? So Moses could have looked at that and said, this cannot be. Right? Eventually, if I sit here long enough, I'll see that thing just go up and get turned to ash, right? And crumble down onto the ground. But no, it's not. Well, this can't, And so at that point, he walks away. And, but instead, Moses lets it be. He lets it be. And Florensky gets into this whole idea of, in some of his other writings, of returning to the juvenile structure of your life. So it's childlikeness, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a child does. A child lets it be.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have the experience or the education or the tainted, life of an adult to say that can't be, right?
Right. Right.
And what was I going to say now? There was something more to that, but anyway, that's where you have to return to. So, like a little child, you enter heaven,
Mm-hmm.
which is what Moses did. Totally letting something. Oh, I know what I was going to say. For Florensky, a child lives outside of itself. Okay, it has no ego. It lives outside of itself, and so it's always a part of everything else. Because it doesn't live inside here. It lives
Yes.
out here. Okay?
Right. That's what I was talking about with that woman on the beach.
Right. And
Yes.
then he points out that the word exist is ex ist. It never dawned on me before until it's outside. Ex ist. And I mean, for me, it really hit home because ist is German for sign, to be. Ex ist is to be outside. That is to exist. Wow. That's all I could say.
I got to go for a walk now.
Yeah. I mean, not just to be outside in nature, but to be outside of yourself.
Right. Out
like
of your
a little
head.
child.
Yes.
Where you are everything, right?
Yeah.
You're the dragon, you're the tree, you're the lion, I always think of my little nephew, Joseph, when he was little, and he said, oh, nice.
Glory to God.
I said to him, Joseph, can you be a velociraptor? And he goes right away. He goes, like, he's just
instantly.
He's it.
Yeah, he's it.
And then he gets from somewhere deep down in, the jungle of his soul, this velociraptor sound comes out of him. Like, it's incredible.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And I just wanted to vicariously live through him, right? In that moment. And my
and he's a fully embodied velociraptor.
Yeah, his mom's like, Auntie, don't, because he would just go into a whole new other world.
Yeah, that's great. Nothing wrong with that.
I know, it's great. Yeah. Well, my friend,
we've had a good run for the day.
Yeah, we talked about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's very fun.
All the time.
Good. Very good stuff. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I think before I touch Pillar and Ground of Truth, I'm actually going to read his the meaning of idealism, which is basically the history of Western philosophy from his point of view. It's not a thick book. It's only like 170 or 180 pages. So I'm pretty interested to see.
Well, I've still got all those PDFs you sent me that I want to read through too.
Nice.
And this I can, I already did it once and then we're almost halfway through.
Some PDF readers allow you to do annotations, so you can highlight and make notes and then like search your notes, like it'll save them.
Oh, would it be a PDF reader, like an app that I have to download?
Yeah. Okay. I'll do a little research and get back to you on that.
Okay. Because I'm just opening it up in my files, and then I can't highlight anything. I can't copy paste. I can't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
But my tech skills are really limited.
Yeah, let me see if this. I'll send you a link to some instructions on how to do it.
Okay.
On an iPad. So
Perfect.
it should work. But yeah, you can at least highlight. Can you make notes?
I mean, some of them weirdly I can no, I can't make notes.
Okay.
But maybe I can and I'm just not doing it right. It's probably the case. But
Here we go.
sometimes I just
send you a link.
screenshot what I want and I put it in my notes
Yeah.
on my iPad because I can't figure out how to copy paste it anyway.
I think I found what you need. I sent you an
Oh,
article in
cool.
Discord. So
I'll check it out.
yeah, hopefully it works. But anyway,
Bedtime.
well, may we have the intercessions of the saints that we
Mhm.
shared tonight. This is Cheese Fair week, so we've already dropped meat. Last week was Meat Fair, and Sunday was Meat Fair Sunday, which is the last Sunday that you eat meat before Great Lent. This week is so you're getting all the meat out of your house. This week is Cheese Fair, so you're getting all of the dairy out of your house by consuming it. And then Sunday is Forgiveness Sunday, where everybody in the parish asks everyone else in the parish to forgive them. It's a very beautiful ritual.
Yeah.
And you just go one by one in a line to everyone in the parish,
Beautiful.
including all the clergy. So, and then Monday is the beginning of Great Lent, and the first week is Clean Week, and then especially like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are basically like strict fast. Some people don't eat or drink at all. Like monks don't eat or drink for the first 3 days.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, of of Great Lent. But you should not do that unless you consult with your spiritual father. You should, if you're going to fast for Great Lent, you should definitely work out a plan with your spiritual father, and not take on too much. Almost favorite day of the year, those Forgiveness Sunday. It's a very beautiful ritual, and every time I've participated in it, there have been tears shed by many in the room. It's a very beautiful and healing ritual.
Yeah.
It's very good, especially for a large and growing community. It's very helpful to have that kind of reconciliation before you start into Great Lent. So may we have the prayers of the saints as we go into Great Lent. May our attention be turned into our hearts through a great lens. And I pray that we can all experience deep repentance and sobriety. So we plan on continuing to do the show as far as I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to go to more services during the week, but I think I can fit Tuesdays for the show in.
Yeah.
And because I think this is a good practice, and I think it's worthwhile to continue to share lives of the saints through Great Lent as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, thank you all. God bless you. Please forgive me if I have upset any of you or offended you. Please forgive me, and I forgive everyone, all of you, even Luke. I forgive you too. I'm just kidding. He won't see this. I just wanted to make that joke. I was thinking about that today. I was like, I forgive even Luke. Luke hasn't done anything for me to forgive. I'm just joking. Anyway, I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful that you join us. I'm grateful that you come to listen and share the lives of the saints with us. And we're grateful that you're here. So God willing, we'll see you next week. Thanks. Have a good night.
Good night, all.